Woohoo! Welcome, of course, to Hex Token channel. Man, oh man, PulseX Sacrifice show. PulseX every day. We're going to run out of days, though. PulseX is eventually going to, end PulseX Sacrifice, but it's going to go live. So we're going to be able to talk about it live on Pulsechain. And when Pulsechain launches, it's going to be pretty epic, folks. Very, very cool. Let me just check the audio's up and running. Hey, welcome everybody. Of course, don't forget to subscribe, like, share, hit the bell. We've got a couple of really cool topics today. We're looking at a lot of stuff. So if you're not familiar with Pulsechain, PulseX, Hex, we're going to be going through pretty much all of it pretty in good fashion. If it's going to be great. You're going to love it, especially if you're new to this area. It's going to be pretty cool. Let's get into a lot of stuff. We're going to get straight into the PulseX Sacrifice results, and then we're going to get into the actual results for day 32. We're also going to look at Hex and price predictions by our biggest whale again. We're going to look at those again and flesh those out a little bit more from Overwatch, Rackham. We're very lucky to have such a big whale, doing that sort of stuff, giving us price predictions, getting involved in the chats and stuff like that. So very, very cool. Big shout out to Rackham, aka Overwatch. So nice stuff like that. We're also going to look at, of course, Pulsechain. We're going to have a look across everything that's live. All the dApps are going to be doing the whole thing today. It's going to be pretty epic. Stay tuned. If you haven't followed me on Twitter, do that. I've just launched that yesterday, Twitter. Get into that. We're almost up at 100 followers on there. And, of course, Getter. You know me, I love free speech. So Getter, free speech and crypto together is perfect. Get onto Getter as well. And, of course, also on Odyssey. That auto uploads from YouTube, so I don't have to do much, just auto uploads. So you'll see these videos on Odyssey as well. Big shout out, of course. Hey, big shout out. There's a couple of other people streaming at the moment. Sometimes this is the way it happens. There's so many streamers out on Pulsechain and Pulse and Hex these days. You can't always not stream at the same time. So a big shout out to, I think it's Pulsification is on. Crypto Heartbeat, I think, is on at the moment. And that's just the way it goes. That's the glorious thing, right? The more, the better, because we're taking over with the leadership of Richard Hart, crypto. We're taking crypto over. And, of course, if you've arrived here, you're in the gold standard products. Pulsechain, PulseX, and of course Hex, which is incredible. So we're going to get into it, folks. Let's get into the chat, and then we're going to jump into PulseX results straight away. Let's go. We've got Marco in the house. Woohoo! Yes, I love it. I love Marco's attitude. Straight in there, folks. And of course, we've got Matt and Barley's in the house. Here we go. Just checked in and got a front seat. Hey, Matt, you're actually early today, which is great. And I know that you those bin tangs and the party life in Bali's probably too tempting. But I'll be over there one day. I'll get to live like that too, probably. Nice one. And Morris is in the house. I'm here also. Move over, Matt. Whoop, whoop. I like that, Morris. Man, that's so funny. You guys are hilarious out there. Very cool. Dan's in the house. Woohoo! And I love it, Dan. Yeehaw, says Matt and Barley. And, of course, Michael O'Keefe's in the house. Hey, good to see you, Michael. Yeah, was it morning? Nice. And finally, we've got Hex Force as well. Good evening, Hex Token from Hex Force. Big shout out to you. Very cool. Sam Schaefer's in the house. Hey, a Hex Token channel member. Very cool. And I think you're the latest one there, Sam, if I remember rightly. Let me have a look there. Let me just go into the studio on the YouTube and check out. I think we got a new Hex Token channel member. Pretty sure it was you, Sam. Let me just get into that there. And very cool. Hey, we powered over 2,800 subscribers, heading towards 2,900. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. That'd be very appreciable. And onwards and upwards. Yes, Sam, you are the latest subscriber, so big shout out to you for sure. And welcome. I've got to do my bow. I always do my bow to the Hex Token channel members. So there we are. You got my bow, Sam. Appreciate it. Woohoo! And Robert's in the house as well. Was told about you from Crypto Heartbeat. Hey, nice one. A big shout out from Crypto Heartbeat. Appreciate that. Thank you, Robert. And great to see you in the chat as well. We're getting into PulseX results. We're covering everything in today's live. It's going to be pretty badass. We got Hardy in there. Greetings from California. Hex go. I love that, Hardy. Very cool. And Roscoe's in the house. Heartbeat sent us. We can leave like you. We can leave if you like, says Roscoe. Hey, Roscoe, you've been here before, Roscoe, but great to see you over in Crypto Heartbeats, and love it. They're doing a pretty awesome stuff. I think it's Saturday night in the United States, so I think that's what they've been up to there. Alex Fame says, woohoo! Hello, peeps. Hey, Alex, always a pleasure. And Hungarian Hexkin, one of my favorite Twitters out there, getting out there and get your bin tangs in the chili bin. Yeah, that's so true. Hex Chief's in the house. Hey. And Matt from CHB, send us. Nice one there, Kansas Crypto. Appreciate that. Big shout out to Crypto Heartbeat, of course. And Bearded Saint has got the thumbs up. Loving it. How's it going, Matt? Says Pulsechain Hex Game. So lots happening in there. Here comes the raid from Matt's channel, says Hexicat. A nice one. The power of Crypto Heartbeat's channel is pretty awesome. And, man, the content is fantastic with all those interviews. So love it, love it, love it. Boom, says Prince of Peace. And, of course, Crypto Heartbeat himself's in the chat. Let's go, rocking. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo. So I love the feeling there. Big shout out to Crypto Heartbeat. Sky Bank 23. What's up? And Hex got in there. Hey. We've got lots of hidey highs going. Hello. Yo. Matt says, we welcome you. My partner's a great cook. So if you're involved in this channel, welcome. Hey, nice one there, Matt. It sounds like you're living the dream there, to be honest. And Mr. A says, when Hex $1, you promised deep dive tier and predictions day. We're talking about that. And Tin Top says, what's up, Hexicans? You guys know I've been watching scary movies, so that's not surprising that you're going, what's up? Because I am watching, go through the whole series onto the third movie at the moment, which is weird because I don't actually like scary movies, but it is a comedy. So, not too bad. Woohoo, says Ito. Nice one. And Crypto King's in the house. Come over to Crypto Heartbeat Steam. Boom, says Crypto King. Nice one. And the raid is coming, says Ilk. Yeah, nice one. And Crypto Heartbeat's got a smile on. Crypto Heartbeat's raiding this channel. Nice one there, Crypto Heartbeat. That is, I love the sense of humor in the chat there. And Crypto Heartbeat Hex Token says Stake Hex. Hey, nice one. Hey, once again, the number of content creators in Pulsechain, Hex, and PulseX is just exploding. We really are taking over the space. It's going to be pretty epic. We all offer something different, and that's part of the beauty. We all live in typically different countries, offering different type of content. It's really cool. Entertainment, interviews, data, insights, all that sort of stuff. It really is quite cool. Tom Cruise is a Hexkin, says Rothko. I believe it. We've got to onboard that one. Hex beating raid, says David Lee. Bouncing over from CHB, says Erdo. Nice one. And Stephen McClatchy says, here from Crypto Heartbeat Show. Hey, Stephen, welcome. Great to see you. Regards from Adelaide. Nice one. Big shout out to Australia. So you've got a brother in Adelaide there, Aussie betting. So nice. And woohoo, says Brazology. Very, very cool. Great to see Brazology in the house. And Tin Top's there. Woohoo. So lots of cool comments happening. I'm going to Daytona 500, says Robbo. Hey, so that Daytona is going to be so awesome with the Hex covered car. Is going to be so epic. And hey, maybe it will end up in Las Vegas for the March conference, which is over 600 people going to be there. So that'll be mad time to have that. Really, really cool. Woohoo, says Tin Top. Absolutely. And Crypto Heartbeat says hi and send us over here. Hey, Wanda, appreciate that. Diehard Hexkin, love it. And what's up, man? Hey, don't forget to subscribe, follow on Twitter. It's in the video descriptions and on Getter, which I love free speech. So get onto that. And of course, let's rock and rolling. Just got on there yesterday on Twitter, so just starting to work up. Richard Hart was one of my first 10 followers on there, so that was a big shout out from Richard Hart. And great to see Crypto Heartbeat in today. So nice. What's up, man? Says J Juice. Very cool. We are here. We're seen. And we've got better in there. Woohoo. So lots of comments going on there, folks. I don't think I'll be able to keep up with all of them, but it's great to have all of you in the chat there for sure. And lots of comments. Yeah, I'm not going to be able to catch up to that, but very, very cool. Bello Brand says, great stream. Appreciate that. Let's get into the results, folks. PulseX Sacrifice. Let's go. All right. So here we are. We've got 1 billion at the moment Sacrifice. We're going to refresh this. We're going to jump over to the official site, actually, and we're going to refresh this, get the latest and greatest. We've got 956.1 million, folks, on the ETH chain Sacrifice. Pretty awesome. And, of course, the sacrifice rate will increase by 5% in 19 hours and 51 minutes. And, of course, there we are. We're currently on day 33, folks, and 10,000 points for $2.79, 10,000 for $2.79. We've got our base points. Those is what you get, 10,000 points for $2.79 now. And then, of course, you get your volume multiplier up to the 21st of February. And, of course, that ranks you proportionally compared to everybody else. So very, very cool. On our little bond curve here, we've got the sacrifice points going up. It's going to end up being $9.90 for 10,000 points. And, of course, at the moment, we are here at $2.79 on the vertical axis. And, of course, day 33 here on this horizontal axis here. So very, very cool. It's sort of starting to get up into that more expensive area. And once we get up to here, it's getting a little bit more expensive. But at the moment, based on $1, the price of PulseX would be 0.000279. So that's pretty impressive there at this stage. And I think the price is eventually going to blow past that, right? It's going to, on launch day, it's going to do something crazy. It's going to probably pull back, and then it's going to have a nice little curve upwards when people least expect it. and it's going to have that sort of parabolic rise eventually. The first 6 to 8 weeks, I continue to see will be a lot of buying opportunity in there. The whales will be watching that, and when people start getting a bit upset, the price is going to go moon time. I think that's pretty much what's going to happen there. It's going to be pretty exciting. Let's get into the PulseX site, and of course, if you want to do a sacrifice, pulsex.info is the site. And here he is. Most people are sacrificing this ETH address, which is to Ethereum or any compatible Ethereum network like Binance Smart Chain, Polygon Matic, etc. And of course, you can sacrifice to there just by sending, using the send function. Just as you send crypto to a friend, you send it to the sacrifice address with no expectations from the work of others. You are sacrificing for freedom of association, and of course, you will participate in a PulseX airdrop for you, which will be on the Pulsechain, and that's all you have to do is switch over from Ethereum over to Pulsechain when it goes live. Now, the earliest date we're expecting for that at the moment is early mid-March at this stage, so we'll see how that plays out. Obviously, software has got a few challenges, so we've still got Pulsechain Testnet 3 to go. We've still got 3 items to go on that. We've got the DAO incentive. We've got the distribution files to be done for Pulsechain and PulseX. We've also got the AMM bot to run, so that's got to be coded and run and tested, so that's all going to play out. So we've still got a little bit there, but in terms of Pulsechain Testnet 2, we are killing it. We have had so many deliveries of the minimum viable product on there. It's pretty outstanding, so we're going to talk more about that later, but that includes the Uniswap version 2. It includes the Pulsechain bridge and many other things, so we're going to talk about that as we go. Go.hex.com on Pulsechain, all that good stuff. We're actually going to look at that later, so stay tuned for that if you haven't seen that before. It's going to be pretty cool. Now, if you're sacrificing, of course, to some of these other chains, Bitcoin Cash, then just follow the arresting instructions, step 1, 2, and 3, and you'll be able to sacrifice using those as well. Just if it's your first time you can do a small sacrifice amount, make sure that works for you. And if it does, then you can go full core if you want to still sacrifice at the stage. Some people come in late all the way through, so people will be coming to sacrifice all the way up through this curve here. They'll just end up paying a higher price, and therefore when it hits the market, they'll need a higher break-even price and a higher market price to get the X's on that. But still pretty early at this stage. Obviously not as early as when it was back here, where people getting 10,000 points for $1, but still pretty early, folks, on that one. Very, very cool. All right, so that's how that works. Let's jump over to PulseX leads, see the live results at the moment. Then we're going to check out the results for day 32. So we'll check that out. So there we are, folks. A beautiful number. Look at that. So big. Huge. $1 billion and $2 million on the ETH chain, Binance Smart Chain, and Polygon Matic Chain. Those are the 3 chains. Very impressive stuff. And the total sacrifice points, excluding the Origin account, which we expect to sacrifice in the final days of the Pulsechain. So that would be back down here. We're expecting the sacrifice here to get operational control, as we might want to call it, of the project. So pretty cool. We've got 17 trillion PulseX tokens at the moment. So if we gross that up, we might end up with maybe 200 trillion is my estimate for that at this stage. Of course, we'll end up with probably about 135 to 150 trillion on Pulsechain. Of course, the majority held that is by the Origin account, which will hold, somewhere between like 85, 90% of those tokens, including the AMM bot and stuff like that. So very, very cool. So that's the results there. Let's have a look at the buy tokens. We're going to look at the top 100 addresses. So we're going to scroll down. We've got 7 addresses over 10 million. Of course, we've got our big whale up here, Overwatch, #Rackham. Big shout out. I love Rackham's tweets, man. They're really, really spot on. And of course, we're going to check out one of those shortly with the Hex price prediction and Pulsechain price prediction and PulseX price prediction. So hold on to that. Of course, that's at the top. We've got the Hex Godwell sitting at number 2. And of course, we're huge fans of Hex Godwell, and we've got quite a few whales sitting above that. Very, very cool. Now we're going to do our honorary mention, of course, to the Magic Carpet Ride pool or syndicate. There's a group of people from around the world that are getting in behind 2 people in America. They're basically running a spreadsheet and getting people to sacrifice through common addresses via YouTube and Telegram. And they have ranked themselves up. So they may be a whole ton of small fish with a few big fish in there, but they're basically going to get whale-sized multiplier, which remember is that second component of the PulseX sacrifice. They're going to get a pretty awesome around 2.1478 was where they're looking at the moment. And they have sacrificed over $4.2 million US there. Very, very cool. And let's see what they've done today. The last day, 29th of January. They've been still sacrificing. Got 2 there. They've done 7,200 and 2,000, so $9,000 still. And that's because they're still getting probably about 8,800 PulseX per dollar is my guesstimate there. So very, very cool for them. And of course, if you're a small fry, you maybe only doing a couple $100, you'd normally get maybe a multiplier of 1.03 or something. But here, you're going to get a multiplier of 2.14 because you've taken the risk return trade-off with going with one of these pool syndicates online. Now, the guys that are running it look fantastic. They're really cool guys. They're running big spreadsheets to make this happen. So they look like it's going to happen. And we've got a few people that in this chat that typically are in that, like Ramon. And the other side of it is also they're going to be running up for liquid loans doing that. And I always say that liquid loans is like the fourth stool, fourth leg on a stool. The fact that you might, for Richard Hart's ecosystem, you've got the Pulsechain, you've got the PulseX, and then you've got Hex, right? And of course, that fourth, that gives you savings, gives you a platform, gives you an exchange. That fourth leg really is your bank or collateral lending facility, and that is where liquid loans comes in. So it's kind of that fourth leg. I like how that fits together in the ecosystem. It has a good fit for me. So that's coming up to it. Their own sacrifice. That is not a Richard Hart project, of course. That is by a standalone, but I think it fits in pretty well with the ecosystem as the savings bank type component. So pretty nice. All right, so that's that. Let's have a look at top 100, and we're going to scroll down on this, and let's have a look here. We're going to go down to the bottom. We've got, to get into the top 100, you need $1.2 million. Of course, this includes Bitcoin. There'll be some big Bitcoin sacrifices there as well. So we estimate that there's definitely over 1 billion and maybe about between 1 billion and 30 and 1 billion 35 million, including stuff that's not on these 3 chains. So it's getting up there pretty cool like that. And so just slowly creeping up to maybe even we might get up to 1.1 billion by the time we're finished. It could be pretty cool. We are getting decent millions done sacrifice per day, which is pretty outstanding. The total wallets we've got is 122,562. Looking really good on that too. And that's how you get in the top 100 is a millionaire. You have to be a millionaire. Let's have a look at the top 500 and we'll see how many millionaires we've got. We typically had about 109. And we're going to scroll down a little bit and see how we get on there. We are up to, no, still got 109 millionaires that have sacrificed. So pretty cool. That's been pretty steady for probably close to a week now. So very nice. Let's scroll down to the top 500, see what you need to sacrifice to get in there. So you need basically about 2,180, $850 to get in the top 500. Very cool. Your multiplier at that rate level is about 1.68. If you're thinking about what your multiplier is going to be. So those are people that have got that. Let's have a look at the top 1,000. Now, top 1,000 is probably the most crucial element. These people will probably end up controlling something like 3/4 of the total Pulse supply, excluding the Origin account. So this is what I call the public supply. They will end up controlling that. And there is $102,746 is what you need to get into the top 1,000, excluding probably the other main one, which is Bitcoin. Pretty cool. All right, so that's the top 1,000. Let's have a look at the top 5,000, and we'll go to the bottom. That's the final one we're going to look at. $20,000 has pretty much been the state. It's pretty much the level that you have to get in the top 5,000. As I say many times, when we started the sacrifice, people thought maybe $5,000 or $7,000 would get you in the top 5,000. But no, it's 20,000. That's how successful Pulse Hex has been. It really is been staggering success. Very, very cool. All right, so we're going to just go through a couple of comments. Then we're going to look at the sacrifice via token breakdown instead of wallet. So let's get in the chat here. I've got to hopefully catch up. There's so many comments. So wish me luck on this one. Very, very cool. We're going to scroll back up here. I'm going to jump through. We've got lots. Everybody that's come over from Crypto Heartbeat, big shout out to you. There's so many comments there. I'm just going to jump through a few of those, but I do welcome you. Don't forget to subscribe, like, share, hit the bell. We're going to head towards 2,900 subs here on our way to 3,000. So you can help us get there, that's for sure. Tin Top says, is a shout out there as well. Hex Live says, get him. Absolutely. And Matt and Barley, mum's in the house. Woohoo. Hey, great. I love that. So Matt's mum's in the house. Very cool. And Joe says, handsome. I'm handsome. Yeah, that's right. We'll call you that. That can be your address there. Smash that likey and Hex Token, says Crypto King. Absolutely. And Hex Live says brand. Yeah, nice one. Maria's in house. Love the sacrifice numbers. They are spectacular. And Steven says Hex just spiked. Bring it on. Yeah, we're going to get into the Hex price shortly. Let me just jump over there at the moment just to see what that is at the moment. Not that one. Bam. Yeah, 18, almost 19 cents. So we're coming up to that pretty shortly. Very cool. We're going to look at the Hex price and price predictions. What else we got going on? We got Hex Cat in there, 1 billion so far. Amazing. Crypto Outlaw says, hi, hey, first timer, Crypto Heartbeat sent me. Hey, Crypto Outlaw, welcome, and great to have you here. Arth says $1 billion. I like the attitude there. And Nicholas says, still worth to sack, you think, or wait till launch? I already sacked, but want to put a little more in. If you have already sacked, I'll probably top up a bit through this PulseX Sacrifice. I think the rate's still pretty good. As I said, the price will be 0.0002, was it 269 at the moment? So what I said it was, 269. Yeah, 279, sorry. So that's what you'd get. Plus, you're going to get the multiplier upside, so you'll get a better rate than that with your multiplier as well. Just a lot depends on where you are on the multiplier, though. But definitely have some funds for when there's a market pullback because it's going to be pretty cool on when you get that. We're all going to be hunting those pullbacks and accumulate because we know that eventually there's going to be a price is going to go up. And I expect that to be maybe 2 months after, but there is a lot of buying demand, and I'm going to go through a lot of that buying demand later, probably a lot more than we normally have, so we'll check that out too. Trevor Riley's in the house. Hey, super sticker, appreciate that. Big shout out, best time of the day. Hello from Okinawa. Woohoo! Okinawa, one of my favorite places, of course. Wash on, wax off. I love that place, so very nice, and appreciate the completion. Says hello, fam. And Francia's in the house. Hello, Hexkins. Good to see you, Francia, as always. And how else we're doing? Charles Carroll says, come over from CHB. Thanks, Charles. Appreciate that. And what else we got? Susie's in our woohoo. Listen to the smart, says Susie. Hey, Susie Q. Great to have you here. And nice one. Brenton's in there too. Hey, Brenton. Always a pleasure. G'day. Woohoo. That's my channel. That's the channel call, by the way, for Hex Token channels, the woohoo. And it's been pretty hardcore. And Francisa's in the house. And Craig's got the woohoo in there too. And Ramon's in there. Hey, Ramon, all the best for the Magic Carpet Ride. You're going to rock the DNB with that 2.14 multiplier, that's for sure. And SQ says, hi, awesome Ballet brand. Susie Q's in the house. Big shout out to Ballet brand there. Is that D4 address in Sacrifice Pools, or is it 40D? Address was restaked today. Hey, we're going to check that out shortly. We won't jump the gun on that tin top, but we'll get there. Hello, everybody, says Craig. And compilation phase, how long do you guys think before PulseX hits 50 cents? I think it'll be some time there, compilation. I think it'll be a while before it gets to that price. Hex Cat says almost at 19 cents, peeps. Yeah, nice. This is the old Hex price, of course. Matt and Barley says, just for you, change my profile picture. Hey, I like that. Bintang beer. Nice one, Matt. Woohoo! The Bintang beer. Very cool. Fanny Starley. Brent says, I hope Overwatch prediction is right for PLX 200X 2 years. Yeah. Me too. But Powerhouse. Now, Overwatch has been through. I saw Overwatch earlier today. He is around and about, so nice. We're in the house, says Francia. Nice. And 200 Hex, 2 years would be 6 as completion. Sorry. And thanks, great show, man. Hit the like button. Hey, Jay Judge, appreciate that. And getting almost up to the comments. Get Hex says good Arvo from Oz. Hey. Aussie, oi. Good to see you, get Hex. And so just to be clear, I'm actually from New Zealand myself. I'm from New Zealand, not Australia, but I love Australia too. We're like cousins, a bit like possibly, is it like Americans and Canadians, but like that maybe? Is it way you may want to see it. Yes, says Francia. And Alex Fain says, with the knowledge of the tokenomics of Hex, PulseX, how long do you think before they start to catch up to Ethereum, Bitcoin, etc., like the top 10? Hey, I think they're going to be the fastest way to mass adoption. We'll talk more about that when I get up to the other topics, but it's going to be fast, man. I mean, we're going to talk about that. I talk about most days, but it's going to be pretty epic. Nice one. And we've got stuff in here. Let's jump through some of these. Jeff Rosa says, hello from Sydney, Australia. Big shout out to you. And Brazil says, I gave you a shout out on Crypto Heartbeat and did a woohoo. You did not, Brazology. You crazy. That's so funny. Hey, big shout out to Brazology, and very nice on that one. We got the tin top's got the price there, 19 cents. We're just about at to. And Francia's got the woohoo as well. Very cool. CryptoFix says Sync Bond will be supported on Pulsechain. Do you think it will do well? Well, there's going to be so many stuff on Pulsechain. We really got to assess them one by one, because just with Richard Hart's projects, we know we're going to get really good X's if we just hold the course, right? We believe in Richard's Hart ability to pump the tokenomics. It's probably a good thing, but there's going to be so many other projects thrown at us. We really need to have our thinking caps on, I should say, and really think about them in detail. Yeah, maybe you might have 5% risk money. Think about like that. Maybe 5% risk money, and the rest of it riding on the Richard Hart projects is the way I'd probably look at it. You have to be very careful. It's very easy to get caught out with a lot of the new projects. So we'll see. And Stephen says, any talk of exchange taking on PLS and PLXX? Yeah, well, the first one I'm thinking of is the most obvious one. It's possibly Coinbase, Stephen. That's kind of typically one in the mix. We had the Sens Foundation go through there. Hex has there's how to buy Hex indirectly on Coinbase. So it definitely seems like a leader one. Qcoin, typically, you need a letter that says you're not a security, I think, is what you need for Qcoin. A Binance, of course, you need to pay them $1 million or something. So, there is limited ones. There are good ones. I like maybe some of the Japanese ones. The Liquid would be cool. If Hex could veer into the Japanese and South Korean crypto markets, that'd be fantastic. That's really seems to be undertapped. I know that a lot of people like Hex is the Way is focusing on the South Korean market and stuff like that on Hex is the Way channel. So big shout out to Hex is the Way. Go subscribe to that channel if you haven't. So we just need to do a lot more work in that space, but we are expanding it very fast. So it's very, very exciting to see that. Cool. Wake Dog says, I predict a big PulseX sacrifice at the end, followed by a big Hex buy that staked 555 just before the fork. Don't think you're wrong there. I think that might be what's going to happen there, Wake Dog. Cool. Mr. A says, can PLS validate or invalidate market cycle chart with the Hex weekly? I'm supposed to have that, Mr. A. I apologize for that. I was supposed to have that up today. I was going to put that up. Sorry, I haven't done that. I'm going to have to leave it tomorrow, but I'll try and get to that. Lol, I did, says Brazilji. Yeah, that's awesome. And Craig Way says, Canada, America hat. Love the Canucks. Yeah, that's right. And where else are we up to? Francis got the ha-ha on. And Matt says, you're going to need a double soon to keep up. Love your passion. Hey, nice one. All right, Sam. Finally, I'm up to date here with the comments. I like to read the comments, folks. I think it's important to go everyone's comments. It's just like when I'm making comment in someone's chat, I like them to read it if possible. It's not the end of the world, of course, but hopefully that is a cool thing as we go from topic to topic. Also, I have a contents as well after the video, so if you want to jump to a specific section, you can use the contents as well. Let's get into the results, folks. Here we go. We've got my highlight, which is 554 million Hex sacrificed, and of course, that's 2,166,000,000 Hex. That is amazing, folks. That's probably around about 7.5% of the circulating supply, and of course, it excludes what we had, the awesome stuff on Pulsechain as well. And so that's taken a lot of circulating supply. It's been perfectly played by Richard Hart through the time period and absorbed a lot of staking that's been coming out and accelerated the Hex fundamentals. So I'm super stoked about that. The other side, of course, is that we've got ETH at 234 million, USDC at 107 million, USDT at 46.5 million, and BUSD at 16.8. Those are our top 5. Our top 10 are BNB at 14.3, DAI at 5.9, Matic at 4.9, Wrap Bitcoin at 3.4, and Shiba at 3.2. Now, the cool thing about these top 10, of course, is that we've got so many stable coins in there, and we've combined that with Pulsechain. We've got over 600 million in stable coins. And of course, Richard teased us at the end of Hexpo online conference on Matty Allen's channel in the social session on day 4 that he's got too much money. Maybe he has to spend a bit this year, and that's the biggest thing that Richard's ever said about anything about the money, with no expectations from the work of others. So we will look forward to that this year. What could that mean? That could mean liquidity pool funding. Could mean some things around the bridge. It could mean marketing. Could mean a lot of different things. But what other project on the planet has that sort of war chest floating around for that sort of thing? So no expectation from work of others, but whoop, whoop, looks like party time. And of course, some of those green candles appear every now and then as well, not just by our whales that we know. So very cool. All right. So the other cool thing, of course, is that the AMM bot's going to harvest all the DEXs of value. And of course, that's going to help pump the PulseX huge. So PulseX has that buy and burn. We call it the magical buy and burn. It's not going to be automated as such, but it's going to be a magical buy and burn. What could that mean? Well, it could mean something like possibly a daily time frame. It could mean something more strategic, something more whale orientated. In other words, wait for the market to get to sell down itself, get exhausted of selling, and then you see some big green candles, or you could see some nice supportive parabolas rising up. That could also play out well with the buy and burn if it's strategic. So there's lots of few options around there, no expectations. But that buy and burn is going to be pretty cool. If we had $1,000, $2.90 would be the fee for that trade at 0.29, and of course 21% of that, or 0.06%, would be about 60 cents per $1,000. So you imagine timing that by $1 billion or even more, even higher. Let's say be conservative, say $1 billion. You're looking at, maybe we're looking at $500,600,000 of buy and burn, regardless of if anyone's buying at the time. So it's going to keep happening. And of course, if that's used more strategically, man, oh man, you could see some beautiful parabolas in the old PulseX chart. Very, very cool. Now, we're obviously PulseX is different. That's the superiority for me, the buy and burn in PulseX compared to Pulsechain, which has a standard fee burn. But what happens is that Pulsechain has validated staking, and Pulsechain also has third-party dApps at this stage, like Liquid Loans, that potentially locks in PLS, right? And also Liquid Loans also has a pumpamental to it as well by buying more PLS, locking it away, that sort of cycle there. But the other side, of course, is that PLS will also be locked into pools, whereas on the PulseX side, we will have just the pools. The pools will be the way of kind of quasi-staking PulseX away, but doesn't have the validators, doesn't have the Liquid Loans at this stage. It's going to be interesting to see whether the DAO incentive votes for a one-sided pool and that we get that locked away that way, or whether we also have any third-party dApps come into play for the PulseX as well and get that off the market. It's going to be interesting. That all helps the pumpamentals. The other thing, of course, is that Hexkins are so good with their culture that they really do stake stuff away. And so there'll be a lot less hands that are from the, we already know that 55% or so of the Hex is with a lot of Hexkins. A lot of those people have got diamond hands. So we know that there'll be a lot less propensity to sell is what I'm really trying to say. There'll be a lower propensity to sell in there as well. Overall, we're always going to be some sellers. We're always going to see some possibly red candles and crashes and corrections, all that sort of stuff. But the propensity is less in this ecosystem. It's just part of the culture. Culture is having an impact in here as well. So very, very cool. Those are the highlights, of course. And within those dexes that we're going to get, harvested through the AMM bot. That's the automated market maker bot. And of course, we're expecting that to be set up in Pulsechain Testnet 3. We've got Uni token, Cake token here. Of course, we've got Sushi Swap as well. These are and Quick Swap here. These are the kind of places where it can be harvested. And it's good to see so many of those communities in here already. And as I say, when we get onboarding, it's going to happen. We're going to have like the lucky people. I don't know, is it 100, 150,000 people? Who knows? Going to have the lucky thing of 1 or 2 days after mainnet launches and the AMM bots run, and that liquidity just is created out of nothing. That's the power of crypto, creating money out of nothing. It's going to be there. And of course, we're all going to be early adopters. Once that bridge opens up, of course, all the ERC20s and the ETH comes over, of course, pairing with those biggest airdrop in history and the biggest yield farming in history. You're going to have all the yield farmers, hundreds of thousands of them come over. You're going to have potentially in the low millions, get ramped up to low millions on the ETH people coming over. And why would they ever go back? Why would they ever go back when it's super fast, super cheap, the biggest airdrop in history, the biggest yield farming in history, right? And of course, the fastest way to mass adoption. So we're going to see this mass adoption curve be huge, like nothing else we've ever seen. This is not just like, this is everything landing at once. It's not just like saying, here's Pancake Swap, here's Sushi Swap. This is the whole first system state copy of Ethereum. And of course, all the yield farming dexes getting harvested, the biggest yield farm. It is mind blowing at what this is going to do. It's going to take the world by storm. Richard Hart's goal, of course, is world crypto domination, and we're there with them. We want to be there with them for that. And it's going to be pretty awesome stuff. So that, folks, is looking really good with some of these things, with these tokens. Let's have a look at the old stats. Let's check out what we're doing at the moment. As I say, about 55% here of Hex has been sacrificed on these chains. And that really gives a good culture of diamond hands, relatively speaking. It's all relative, of course, but it's a more high propensity to hold than probably most other projects in the place. So very, very cool on that. The other side, of course, stable coins gives a nice war chest over here. So these sacrifices do give you a bit of hint to some of the strengths of the ecosystem that is being built out by Richard. So nice. Let's have a look at the sacrifice by day. We're going to look at day 32. Which finished about 4.5 hours ago. So we've got 9.5 hours left in day 33. We got 1.3 million today. Of course, that's actually lower than yesterday, 1.4. And we're actually lower than 3 days ago, 2.7. So we're starting to drop away again a little bit here. But PulseX Hex price is rising. So we might actually get a little bit of rebound on the sacrifice. At the moment, we're currently running at 187,000 so far. We've got 9.5 hours to go for day 33. So pretty good results. Of course, day 32, we're running at $1 billion and $1,915,000 was the actual total at the end of day 32. And of course, now we're up to 1,200,103,000. So we're definitely climbing up there again as well. Very, very cool. Of course, in the purple here, way back here is Pulsechain. And of course, this was before the mercy period. This is in the official period. The first 16 days excludes also the flat rate period, day 17, 18, and 19. This ran from the 15th of July through to 3rd of August, of course. And we had the Origin wallet come into Pulsechain here. Of course, we've blitzed that, haven't we? 670, and that we absolutely hammered that one on the day. I think we were, I can't remember exact number, maybe 870 million or something like that. But we actually hammered that on the day. Very, very cool. So those are results, folks. Those are the live results for PulseX and the day's results. And of course, you get that here on this channel. We're covering it every single day. So very, very cool. Nice one on that. We're going to have a little break and get into the PulseX. Actually, should do this now. We're going to get into the PulseX results. Obviously, day 32, 265. And of course, at the moment, $2.79 for 10,000 points on day 133. Sorry, day 33. And that's equivalent, of course, day 33 is equivalent to getting, for $1, you'll get 3,589 points. So originally, you would have got 10,000. Now you are getting 3,589 for $1. That excludes having a volume multiplier. Obviously, the higher your volume multiplier, the higher the amount of points you would get, as illustrated to the right here. The higher the volume multiplier, very, very cool. And as I say, the Magic Carpet Ride, which is getting somewhere about 2.14, that pool will still be getting, probably maybe 7,750. I said close to 8,000, but it's probably lower than that. 7,750 probably is where they're at the moment on that one. So slightly lower than that now. Really starting to get them. Obviously, we've got a long way to go. We're day 33 now. We're going to go all the way through to day 54. So I think from memory, that's about 25, 26 days left to the end. And of course, by the time we get to the end of the volume multiplier, then we've got the base points, and then we've got the volume multiplier, which ranks your US dollar versus everybody else proportionally. And of course, that will end on the 20th here. And of course, day 54, 10,000 points will cost you $7.76, which is basically kind of 3 times higher than now. And then the final days, the volume multiplier will end, and everything will be a flat rate of 1.75. So on day 55, your rate with 2,147 will be better than a lot of these rates sacrificing at this later period, which you definitely would recommend if someone's doing a low amount, maybe a couple $100, that they would definitely be better off instead of sacrificing here if they've never sacrificed, just sacrificing on day 55. That's kind of the logic there with this table. Very, very cool. All right, so those are the results there. And of course, we can see here, this is a little dated now, but it gives you the basic run of the fact that most accounts have sacrificed below $5,000. So most of them have below 5,000. And of course, that's why you get the top 1,000 over here. The top 1,000 will control like something like 73, 75% of the PulseX supply. So it's pretty impressive there. The min price, of course, 0004, and the max price has been rising and rising. It is now much higher than this, but this is back on the first 12 days, 000147 around about there. So very, very cool. And so we're going to expect the price to really go up and then down and move around when it actually launches. It's going to be pretty interesting to see that too. Very, very cool. We're going to jump onto the Hex price, which is having a little rally. Woo-hoo-hoo! So nice to see the rally on. And let's get into some of the comments here. We've got Hexicat says, just knows the Top Gun hat lol, negative Ghost Rider. The pattern is full. Hey, nice one. I appreciate that, Hexicat. Dude, you're a machine, says J Judge. I appreciate that. And that's how we do it. Machine Terminator. This says, I meant that, can you compare the Wall Street market cycle chart with the Hex weekly chart and either validate or invalidate? They look the same. Okay, Mr. A, I'll try and remember that for tomorrow there, Mr. A. Jake says Valcoma looks like you. Hey, I love Valcoma. Valcoma, Doc Holliday, Valcoma, man, that's some of the best acting of all time in that scene. That was pretty epic. Nice one. Richard Brazology says, let's spend some money this year. Richard Hart, I like that, Brazology. You got it, man. You got it. You're rocking on that one. Frenchie's got the smiles on. Hex price looks nice right now. Does. And Nicholas says, no expectations. What do you think happened to the Hex that was sacrificed? Happened to the Hex that was sacrificed. Well, typically it's never been sold. So that's what's happened to it so far, Nicholas. It's kind of, it becomes inactive liquid Hex. So that's pretty much that. Matt and Barley says, don't forget to smash the like button, folks. The harder you hit, the louder our voice. Pump those bags. Yeah. So this channel is going to be around for a long time to come. We're going to be doing a lot of new content on this channel soon too. So it's going to be a lot of fun, folks. And with this a new sound, we're going to be rocking the DMV with that. Cool. Brendan says it will be taken out of circulation of the Hex supply. Yeah, it's basically inactive. And that's why I said it's so exciting when we see these sacrifices. They have played out perfectly with lots of big Hex coming out, billions of Hex being sacrificed. Very cool. We estimate something up to maybe 18% of circulating supply has been sacrificed. Very cool. And of course, we saw today, another good news today, we saw lots of staking, big stakes coming out, and then staking long, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, really bullish. And as those big whales get it, they get it. They've come out of stakes maybe 2 years and they get it. We're going to talk about that too, because that's actually impacted today. A whale got 105% return. That's impacted the TShare rate. We're going to talk about that. I have posted that as well. Brendan said, assuming the OAA just hold the tokens in the address and not move it, it's kind of like burning. Yeah, kind of like that. It becomes inactive. So we're already worried about the circulating supply for the public. What's the public holding? And that's you and I, of course. Very cool. And Nicholas says, that's what I figured. Thanks. Hey, you're welcome, Nicholas. And Susie Q says, well, I feel smarter now with this channel. Hey, Susie Q, appreciate that. And nice one. I like these sports too. I like the sports, Susie. All the sports there too. So very cool. Cryptomanic says, new hex.com looks great. Oh, yeah, looks fantastic. So I put that into the daily vid today. If you haven't seen that, I spent about a minute and a half talking about the hex.com site. Looks so good. And we might as well just pull that up now, actually, while we're here. And pull that up. Let's boom. Look at that. Beautiful. Hex.com site. Look at that. Looks really nice. Just subtle, really deep colors. Very cool. It's got a mixture between a couple of themes in there. And you got your corporate inner city theme. You got your cool colors from the branding. That's really quite nice. I like it. I like it a lot. Very attractive to people that come in. So nice one there. All right, cool. Let us get into stuff. We've got Brazilians, but burning is dumb. Imagine a few years that money to pay 100,000 artists for advertising. Yeah, I'm not sure if that's whether any of it will never be sold, but it's definitely the origin account, the sacrifice wallets. If we think of them as a family, they kind of act as a financial operator. And Hex, of course, it impacts the APY yield. It impacts the big payday that we saw. It limits, limit the all the bonuses on big payday. It's staked out a proportion out for up to 10 years. Of course, we saw some big ones come out in November or December, and of course they got good accounted by John Wick there. And of course that takes the T-shares out of the market, but leaves them in good accounting. And so I cover that every day. That stuff's about 100 million of it's just still sitting in good accounting there. But they've got other stakes in the future. What that also does is that some people may miss is that also lowers the inflation, the effective inflation that actually hits the market as well when the origin account is getting that stuff. So it's like a win-win, right? And so we'll probably see that happen in Pulsechain and PulseX, see some probably some movement around there. Doesn't seem to have as many mechanisms to move, but it's still kind of that financial control there as well. So it's going to be interesting to see that play out there. Pulsechain Hex game says, it seems to me Pulse will really need some sort of stable coin that pegs a dollar. Thoughts? Yeah, so we're going to find out whether the actual dollar stabilizes there, whether the actual copies stabilize on the Pulsechain. Of course, when the bridge opens up, that's when we'll get the so-called backed dollars from these centralized stable coins, USDC, USD Tether, stuff like that. We will have, of course, liquid loans maybe within a month after the launch. We'll probably have stable coin there, decentralized algorithmic stable coin backed by PLS itself, redeemable for $1. So that could be pretty cool as well. David Lee says, awesome breakdown. Hey, David Lee, appreciate it. And Greed says, Jay Lynch, nice one. And hey, I'm also up to the comments. Pretty cool. Hexcat says, I still never understood the volleyball scene in Top Gun. Who plays beach volleyball in jeans? I don't know. I used to play beach volleyball in the summer all the time. And of course, we used to do lots of the cool stuff with that. So yeah, who knows? I don't know jeans. We never played in jeans though. But there are a lot of guys that do, but I never did it. Rothko says, will the buy and burn function be a regular event or it's on a scheduled or daily or random? That's why I talked about earlier, Rothko. I said it could be a regular time-based event, or it could be more strategic, like a way a whale would do it, and maybe buy when the selling's all done. I think the selling's done, and of course that's when they buy up and they get way more volume. They then take that volume off the market as a burn, And of course, they could do it that way. They also have a third option, is to try and support a parabolic rise in that way. And of course, that would be strategic too. So we'll see what they do. Rothko, the Magic Cup Ride Day. We'll call them a mysterious day. And James says, woo-hoo-hoo, nice one. Right, so here we are. We've got the Hex chart, and we're going to get into the third topic. So I will put contents for this one as well after that. So we've got the bottom of the price range at the moment, 17 cents. The top of the range, just over 20 cents at the moment. We've been just muddling around here for quite a few days here. In fact, about 8 or 9 days. So yeah, 8 days there. So we're just muddling around that moment. Man, we had a big buy today. Now, what's caused that? Maybe the market rebounding a little bit. Maybe the TShare rate jump. There's a few factors there. You could even follow the addresses to see more specifically what was going on there. We're having a beautiful bounce at today. 19.6 cents. Wow, that's pretty amazing. We're sitting under 18 cents, mulling around. This is what happens in Hex. You might fall asleep because the price is falling, it's going lower, and you're going, oh, the price is going low, and you fall asleep, and then suddenly, bang, the price has just gone up. So that's the way it happens. So pretty cool. Let's have a look at the triangle that we're in at the moment. Let's pull that back. We have this triangle that we're in at the moment, and of course, we've got we're bouncing around the support area of 16.5 cents, 18.5 cents, sorry. We've got our next support line is 16 cents. We haven't hit that. We've stayed in this range at the moment. And of course, we really want to break this downward resistance here in the top of the triangle. But we are looking pretty well set up. We're looking pretty good. We see this pattern that keeps remerging here with these parabolics doubles. You get your big and then your small, your big and your small. Here we've got two little smalls, but basically a small, a big, a small, and then a big, and then a small, and then a big, right? Because eventually when we start to target $1 up here at the red, this is all going to look much smaller, right? It's going to look much smaller. But as we move higher, we need more economic energy to move higher. We also need less sellers. But at $1, we're going to get a lot of selling resistance at $1. This is the most critical phase on the road to maturity. Just think of Hex on a road to maturity. And of course, a $1 is that psychological level that people go, hey, this thing's $1. I'm going to invest in it now. Isn't it? It's kind of weird, right? People like to pay a higher price for an asset until they invest. So, and I'm particularly thinking about the big whales out there. We know that there's probably at least maybe 7, 8 big, possibly billionaires in the space now, either invested in Hex or looking at it. And of course, that includes Pulsechain as well. Pulsechain is a lot more easier for them to invest in because Ethereum is valued up. So the brand is there, the valuation is there. Of course, it's going to be the biggest system state copy here. And that Hex, good reason why the Hex God Whale and Overwatch is in it. And I guess 3 arrows is running around the place somewhere. They're all involved in these type of things. The other side, of course, is that, you've obviously got Richard Hart yourself and Kiwasaki's starting to look at this stuff with funding, Jim. So there's lots of stuff happening there as we go. So that's the economic energy we need to move up there. The other thing, of course, is retail virality. This 2022-23 looks like the year of retail virality. We've now passed the 2-year mark. Although that's people still talk about Hex scam and that, but really that stuff's done. We're moving forward now. A lot of the online crypto space that are all Hex, Bitcoin maxis and stuff like that, shilling, margin trading and stuff, they are now onboarding themselves onto Pulsechain, and they're doing it a lot more quietly. Some of them are vocalizing it, but eventually in another three months' time, they'll be shilling Pulsechain, PulseX, and Hex just like all the rest of us because they're the greatest products on the planet. And of course, they're going to be the shining light on the crypto hill, as I say it. So a lot of people are going to be attracted to that. So you see what I mean? The walls start falling down. Bam, bam, bam. We're at past 2 years. We're now in year 3, year 4. Those are going to be the years of retail virality as we ramp up. And how is that going to happen? So many ways. The community of it is expanding. The highest of stakes documentary, things like that. The Daytona 500, and of course, the biggest thing in the room, the elephant in the room, the first system state copy of Ethereum. Basically, pretty much the biggest vampire attack on the Ethereum network, with millions of users potentially coming over to the Pulsechain, and therefore also flowing into PulseX and Pulse and into Hex itself. So it's pretty exciting, folks. Obviously, Pulsechain is going to be super cheap and super fast as well. We're going to look at that later, but it is pretty mind-blowing, folks, and this is what we've got to get our heads around. And the ramp-up of adoption is the one I'm going to be following very closely, and it's going to be steep and fast. So we think that we've got a big community now. You watch it once Pulsechain launches. It's going to be mind-blowing. If you think we've got a lot of promoters now, you watch it's going to be insane. And now, one of the big trends that we've had recently with Pulsechain, we had a lot more female content creators coming into the space. We've got a lot more females on the, the ladies, Hexkin Ladies show on Discord Syndicate. Before we only had a couple. Now there's a whole ton of them now. We didn't probably had enough females on to go on that show that were at least willing to go on that show. But now the whole thing has got full with females, which is wonderful, right? Because it just shows you another maturity sign of Pulsechain, Hex, and PulseX growing. Richard's Heart's ecosystem is expanding at a fast rate to knots. And it's just warming up. We're just warming up. Month by month, you're going to see it just grow. And Pulsechain's going to supercharge that. It's going to be like a big doop. It's going to be, as Richard would go, up to the, up into the sky. So it's going to be pretty cool. Pretty badass. So anyway, let's get into let's scroll this down from $1. Let's get back to where we are now. And of course, we're going to have a look at, we want to bust through this resistance line. That's super FOMO. If we bust through that, obviously we get a new super uptrend starting, and we could get something like this here, something like this happening. And of course, that's what I've got this green candle in. That's pretty much the same length as over here. And this is what we've got over here. When it happens is another timing. So at the moment, I've got it coming in at near the beginning of February, but this could be translated over. It could mean that it moves over to the side somewhere, but it's going to happen at some stage. And it also will depend on how Richard signals to the market. Particularly, we've got PulseX ending on the 25th of February. And of course, how many days is that left? About 25. Let me just do the math on that. So 25 days till the end of PulseX Sacrifice. And of course, the whales will move probably before the news is out. That's my guess. When we saw Pulsechain, after Pulsechain Sacrifice, we saw about a week dip there, and then suddenly it was away off the roses, right? And Richard kept on saying 2 months. But that does take 9 to 12 months apparently to actually get things launched once you do it. Hex was over a year, and of course, Pulsechain so far is about 8 months or something, like 7-8 months. So was it 7 months? Yeah, 7 months. So that's pretty much where we're at the moment. All right, coming up on 8 months, so no, it won't be too far away, I guess. But there we are. So I estimate at the earliest in the turquoise here, I guess it's we've got 1 to 3 weeks. 1 to 3 weeks after the PulseX launch is the earliest period. Now this is conditional on Pulsechain Testnet 3 and the 3 things that we're waiting for: the down incentive, which he's got 2 programmers working on that, or looking for the best solutions. Richard's going to try and get the one. Also, the distributions, of course, particularly for PulseX, Pulsechain 2. And of course, we've already got rough ones for Pulsechain, but they've got to do all the little altcoins, lots of stuff there. We'll see how they manage that, because it's actually a bit of an administrative issue, especially if they're trying to, do people justice for those who made mistakes. And that's probably the biggest issue. They sacrificed from an exchange where they couldn't actually do that properly, or they sacrificed to the Pulsechain Sacrifice wallet instead of the PulseX one. So there's things like that happening. They've got altcoins that are dubious, maybe have no liquidity, may not be really worth anything. So lots of stuff like that Richard wants to honor as much as possible, but they probably will have to make some practical decisions about that to get that deadline. And of course, number 3, the AMM bot, or the automatic market maker bot. And that's the third thing. And probably the one that may help hold us up the most, because apparently the way Richard's been talking in the code, still got to be written for that, and harvesting the different dexes and stuff like that. So, but that's actually the most important one for PulseX, because that's what's going to create the money out of nothing. It's going to harvest all of those PRC20s. It's going to swap over Pulse for that, and of course, it's something like 1.1 million to 1 ETH for that readjustment. So it's going to be fascinating to see. Very, very cool. Now remember that on Pulsechain, Pulse is the fee token, as opposed to on Ethereum, ETH is the fee token. So got to remember those as well. But I'm expecting this big price rise in this green candle to happen at some stage coming up here. So whether it's here or whether it's a bit later, it really depends on the signals that Richard gives around Pulsechain launch. And of course, the other side of that is that we're waiting for a hype block. We're getting Pulsechain Testnet 3 will probably have an updated hype block. The Pulsechain Testnet 2's got a one that's about 2 or 3 months ago. And of course, we're wanting for, it's probably older than that actually, but we're probably waiting for a new block height for the Testnet 3. And then of course, that will allow you, if you've got tokens on your ETH chain at the moment, you'll actually see those on the Pulsechain. But of course, that will be a test net, not real. And then, of course, we're waiting for the final height block for the actual mainnet. And that's going to be interesting to see how Richard plays that, because obviously he doesn't want people to pull liquidity funds or play any games. But of course, everybody wants to have their tokens in their wallet on the ETH chain so that they get that airdrop, the biggest airdrop in history, and get that copied over to Pulsechain as PRC20 tokens. So pretty awesome. Of course, a lot of those people are going to, especially the yield farmers, want to come over with their ERC20s over the bridge. So we'll get a day or two to maybe if you've got PulseX and you want to get a bit of Pulse, you'll be able to swap that with the ratios. Of course, you've got to be careful with the ratios. Could end up worse for you if you get the wrong way on that. So that's something else to take into account. So that's pretty much what's happening with the price. And of course, we're almost at 19 cents, which is a great day in the office. Let's have a look at the TA on this. We've got the DMI here. We've got a little uptick in the buyers and a strong downtick in the sellers. And we've got the signal line going up here. So what we want is this buyers line to cross over this orange line here. So if let me just put that on the channel there. We want this here to, cross over here somewhere, maybe like that. And we'll make that green. And of course, we want this one here to go like that. That's where we want it to go. And of course, this one here, the sellers line in red. So I've changed the colors from what you normally see just so that it's easier to follow. Red for sellers, green for buyers. So, we want this to happen like that. We would have got there red. Let me do red on there. Bam. And of course, green for this one. I forgot to do green on that one. Let's do green. So you see what I mean? We want to get these crossed over. And then, of course, it's huge rally on. And that would work pretty well with our little up green curve, right? So we get this nice little up curve there. Very, very cool. On the RSI, of course, we've got this here. Plenty of room here. We're under 50 and we've got plenty of room. We'd love to see that go up here. We'd love to see that go up there. We've got plenty of room to go up to. We can go way higher. We can go way up here. If we look back here, we can get up to that line. That's a huge price run. And that fits pretty well in with our chart. So cool. So that is on the daily, folks. Let's have a look at the hourly quickly. And we'll get into some of that. And we're going to push that up there. I've got to change the old diagrams here. We're going to get rid of the imagery. And this is what we've been seeing today. So just we're falling asleep down here at 7.5 cents. Some probably people thinking of buying. And then, of course, when we get this nice little price pump, and that's pretty cool. I love this. And we've had this a few times, though, buying and selling. A lot of the selling's been due to stakers coming out, Hex OGs selling down a bit of their bags. Maybe they had 50 million, they sold down, or maybe they had 80 million, they sold down 30 million, something like that. We've seen a few of those candles like this. And, of course, but at the moment, we just had this nice little buy pump. And that was up 12%. So pretty cool in 3 hours or whatever, 2 hours. That's a pretty nice little pump there for sure. Cool. So that, folks, is the price at the moment for Hex. So looking good. Let's get into some of the comments. Make sure I'm up to date. Man, I got miles behind on the comments. I apologize. Hex Cat says, I have to get to New Zealand straight. Heard beautiful. Yeah, the view, very beautiful, Hex Cat, in terms of the land. Mike says, would it not be safer to have your stable crypto and Richard Hart's incentive token rather than a USDL? Liquid loans looks great, but the company has proven itself. Mark Capers. Well, I agree with that, Mike. I agree with you. And the fact is that Richard is going to be looking for a stable coin himself, but he was really going to back that into his exchange that he's been looking at. I don't think that's been going as well as exchange registry. I thought that was going through Spain, but that definitely was something he was looking at. Let me pull. Yeah, Richard Hart, like we're looking at Pulsechain and PulseX at the moment. Richard Hart has a big roadmap going forward. So that's definitely something he wants to look at, around that. The other thing, of course, we're going to see a lot of other stuff be built on top of this as periphery things like, possibly an index site and stuff, margin trading. There's heaps of stuff he wants to do. Just looking at the stuff. So cross-chain stuff, a new MetaMask, ranking sites. What other stuff I've got listed down here? A better 1-inch market orders, margin trading, as I said, Uniswap version 3 probably next year when it's open license and stuff like that. So there's lots of stuff coming up, and stablecoin exchange were some of those. Rothko says, cool, love all the game theory. I love it too. Tefron's got the woohoo in the house. And what else we got? It was scrumped down here. Jamie says, keep the great work. Thanks, bro. Hey, Jamie, appreciate that. Big shout out. And Jamie says, yeah, boy. And Stake Hex says, we shouldn't complain about being gatekept right now. Let's get entrenched where no one is looking. Pulse launches, guns blazing. Yeah, well, we're pretty much, the growth is exploding, regardless of the gatekeeping. We are really kicking some butt there. So no problems. Hey, Hex now, Hex Token channel members got the sup Hex skins. Good to see Hex now in the house. Late to the party and half drunk. Nice one there. Very cool. And Brenton says, howdy. Vampire Texas Brazil. Vampire in the neck. Yeah, that's pretty much it. And females welcome. Yeah, that's right. What else we got? I got silver bullets. Nice one. For the vampires. Nice. And Rare Grooves and ours. Woohoo! Hey, Rare Groove. I love the name change there, Rare Groove. Very cool. And getting there quick. Yeah, what else we got going? What else we got? Wrenches Gone Wild, says Tefrin. And what else we got? Tefrin's got Let's Go Hex Pump. Yeah, absolutely. We're pumping it for sure. What else we got going? Hexy Cat says, can I get a hammer? Can I get a hammer? And you mean a wrench? I think you mean a wrench. It's now, and it says rephrase the thumbprint today. Yeah, right. And the Tefrin says a jackhammer would be nice, says Tefrin. Slipping on a nice cold barista bros chocolate milk. Refreshing. That sounds pretty good. Chocolate milk with ice cubes. That'd be pretty nice. And it's now says pliers are a great thing with the stamping. I know. Crypto Heartbeat says thank you for all you do. Hey, Crypto Heartbeat, appreciate that. Big shout out to you. Keep up the awesomeness there. Very, very cool. Boom, hammer time, says Crypto King. Very nice. All right, so that's the price, folks. We're looking pretty good. Let's go check out the price prediction with Rackham. We looked at this yesterday. Of course, Overwatch partners predictions. Hex $1.20 USD, and very cool. Now, PE typically means price to earnings ratio. Just for the PE there. The PLS 12,500 X from all-time low. Obviously, the all-time low hasn't been established. The only way you could describe that is what the best price that the whale gets for sacrificing. That'd be the only way of estimating an all-time low price at the moment. But it looks like Rackham's talking about a market price. So whenever that after Pulse launches and it hits a low, just like Hex did. Hex launched on the 2nd of December 2019. And then on the 5th of January 2020, it had its all-time low. Then this is what he's really talking about. So maybe we launch, maybe a month later, we have an all-time low, and then we get a 12,500 X. That's what Rackham's talking about there. PLSX, 8,000 X from all-time low. Once again, PLX launches, gets a USD price, it gets to all-time low, and then, of course, that's going to be 8,000 X from there. Of course, that time frame, of course, is hard to tell, but the prediction was over 2 years, so that is a 2-year time frame there. But once again, that's, Hex did terrific over that period. 20,000 X, including staking, a million X in the price. So depends on where you're taking the base price, but those were the kind of results that you got. Very awesome. All right, so cool on that. And of course, Rackham says these are my minimums just to add clarity. Please continue to share on social media platforms or retweet. I would really like to see how accurate my predictions are. So this is pretty cool. Remember, this is Overwatch. So if we go back to Pulse here and go back to the leaderboard, this is our number one whale. And that's what's so cool. Typically, you don't hear from whales. You'll never hear from them. But we do hear from time to time from the top whales in this ecosystem, which is really, really cool. And it's good to see that they're there for the long game as well. They're after the big X's. They could run away with 2X if they wanted to slowly by selling down, I guess. They are so big. They don't typically play that because they've got so many tokens. But they will definitely be a strong player in the long term. They do have a long-term picture. Very, very cool. Now, the Hex God Whale, of course, number 2 there has sold quite a bit of ETH as the market was pulling back into USDC. So I think they ended up with about 65 million in USDC just on their one public account. They probably have quite a few other accounts, but that was pretty interesting to see that play out too. All right, so let's jump back to Rackham. So that is some of the cool stuff there from Rackham. It's got a few more comments in the chat there if you want to follow that. We'll post this in the video description afterwards so you can follow this as well. But it is at Rackham Rochelle on Twitter, so you can follow that. All right, let's jump over to the Hex. This is the other big news today. This was really, really cool, really cool. And of course, we finished the day of day 789 at 20,545.5 TShare rate. So that's how many Hex you have to stake for a TShare for a day stake, as it were. And that's pretty awesome. We were getting nice little increases of 6.6 every day. and a couple of 12s. Very, very cool. Now it's been steadily going up, which has been nice. You say nice, but the nice just means that it means that people have to buy more Hex to get a TShare, and the TShare rate has been going up as well. So that's been pretty cool. And the TShare rate eventually in the future will be 50, 60 Hex per TShare, but they're going to be dramatically less TShares. At the moment, we have about 10.6 million TShares. We had 11 million before. Now we only got 10.6. And that means that people that are smaller fish, tinkering turtles and stuff like that will end up being dolphins and stuff like that in the future if they've staked out longer. If they've really staked their TShares out longer, they will be in that category. And obviously Hex on the Pulsechain, Hex on the ETH chain. So it's going to be pretty crazy to see that. So if you are a smaller fish down there at the bottom, you will be rising through the ranks if you've staked out longer. Your TShares will stay longer and you'll have a better share rate. The share rate today will be better than the share rate tomorrow. And of course, the share rate tomorrow, we know what that is already. At least up to this point, it's jumped from about 147 Hex today, from 2545 to 2693. It is now 20,693 Hex per TShare now. That is the pumpamentals that Richard Hart designed with his programmers to make this happen. So very, very cool. Shout out to Dev Kyle and those that were involved in the TShare rate. Really big, big deal. And look at this, is what we've got now. And it really is helping the tokenomics, the pumpamentals in Hex. Now you need 147 more Hex today to get that same TShare that you could have got yesterday. It really is changing the game. Now, this will be worth, 40,000, 50,000 Hex a TShare. Really, the pumpamentals go up, but of course, the payout will also rise as well. And I actually think it's going to happen faster than most projections. It's going to be pretty easy to see. And here's the big catalyst we're going to see probably in a year or two, and it's this, is that we're going to see a lot of Hex OGs, very good Hex OGs, that were early, that still staked out, that haven't sold out, that are still early, staked out well with nice staking ladders, maybe even longer terms. We're going to see as the price of Hex moves up, as we move through this price barrier rocks up here, we're going to see a lot of them do 50% early unstakes. We will see it, folks. You believe it, we're going to see it. We've already seen quite a bit of it. We're going to see a lot more of it when this chart starts to change. So when this chart starts to get up to, a couple of dollars in here, we're going to see more and more and more as those stakes come up. People might have done a 5-year stake or a 7-year stake. As they hit that 50% mark, we're going to see some of them, they're going to even they might have big payday, I should say, and that will have heaps of Hex in it, but they're going to forego that for the US dollar return. So we will see that. So what happens to that? The penalties, 50% will go to the stakers that are staked out long. So if you're a smaller fish, you're going to get some huge penalties, paydays. We've already had 5 or 6 or 7 of those big ones since over the history so far. It's going to be really, really impressive to see that. And of course, it's going to be part of the experience that we're all going to have. And of course, getting those the penalties is pretty huge, because basically they're transferring their Hex that they got out of big payday, being a big whale, they're transferring it to you and I. With nice staking ladders and long staking max stakes. People stake between 10, 15 years out. So it's going to be pretty fascinating. Now, originally, Hex, of course, had about a 4.7-year average stake length. And we're now over 6. We're 6.12, I think, at the moment. And, of course, that's going to have a major play. And so those 4.8 years, those people that staked out at the beginning, you're going to see more and more of those start happening, particularly, in the next year or two. So it's going to be pretty fascinating, folks. These penalties are going to keep coming. So you're earning interest, but you're going to be earning this beautiful penalties as well. Really will be quite fun on the ride there. We're going to get price volatility, though. We're going to get price volatility with it, just to let you know. But as more big money comes in, just like in Bitcoin, we're going to go through those price cycles, and you're going to ride through those price cycles is the way it's going to look. And it's probably see having our own chain, Pulsechain, and probably dominate and probably could be the ETH killer. Because it's the first system stake copy, so it gives us even more confidence of that outcome, that it's going to be built on top of that, the golden child on that project. So it's going to be pretty neat, pretty exciting, folks. I'm just pumped for that for sure. We'll just go through a couple of those. So we've got this here, 20,693. This was due to, of course, this whale came out today, 150 million Hex, folks, and they came out with another 7.5 million Hex. Return on investment of 105. So that's why we jumped 147. And of course, they got 53.9% APY, folks. Very, very cool. And that's what we like to see. And then, of course, we saw all these stakes happen after this. Look at us. We saw lots of stakes. Oh, I've lost my channel there. Let me just update this. So we saw lots of stakes here. happen as well for a year, 2.2 years, 11,000 T-shares, 13,000. So interesting stuff happened there after that. And of course, we had 30 million here coming out in stake too. That came out only 4.5% ROI compared to 105. This is only 128 days, right? So that's some pretty big differences there. And then we saw some more with T-shares, some really good staking in the last 24 hours. We saw 50 million get staked earlier in the day on as well. So we had heaps and heaps of stakes in today. That should show up tomorrow's stats. We should see some big stats with the staking on there too. Looks pretty good. All right, so nice. Let's see what that does then. If we've got a new TShare rate of 20,692, here we are on hexcalc.net. And of course, we've just got 10,000 hex here, staked for the maximum period of share bonus for T-shares, 3,641. We've got the current price of 18.8 at the moment. I think that's the current one at the moment. We don't have to refresh this anyway. And of course, that gives us a pretty cool return, 37.1 APY or annual percentage yield on that. So pretty amazing. So 10,000 hex will turn into 37,000 hex, or $1,880 will turn into 6,956. This is way underplayed, by the way, because the amount the payout per hex per T-share is going to rise. The penalties are going to be way higher. This is completely undervaluing the return you're going to make. But hey, it's conservative, and that's good. That's conservative, right? So very, very cool. And of course, we've got a price of 18.8 cents. So if you think, obviously, the only thing offsetting this is if you think the price is going to go down. Other than that, the fundamentals for T-shares, the hex per payout, and all that sort of stuff is going to go up and up and up. That's the system. That's a system issue. So it's going to keep going. Very cool. Nice one. And let's jump on. We've got and Mike OKP is on Pulsechain and on ETH. Nice one there, Michael. And Sushi says, yes, that's true. That's true, Michael. Yeah. And Sushi says, hey, Matt, good to see you. And it's now says, this is what I meant by breaking my thumb while stamping my seed phrase. Nice one. And I got a video there. I'm not sure what the video is there. Let me jump over, have a look over in the studio. So look, pull this up for a second. So don't forget to fill out the poll. We've got the poll on. We're going to finish that up later. Steel phrase. Oh, okay, that's cool. That's for how to make your own crypto steel recovery seed phrase backup. Okay. Hardy says, I like your Top Gun hat cap. Cool. Hey, thanks, Hardy. Appreciate that. And up pliers, hold the stamp. I don't know what's happening there. It's now. You got to. Hey, Sandy Bitches in there. Hey, everybody. Good to see Sandy as well. And Turtle Power. What else we got going? Let me jump up here. Brazil just got the price update there. Nice. And let's go. 100 likes. Boom. Crypto King. Hey, yeah, definitely subscribe, like, share, hit the bell. We're trying to hit 2,900 subscribers. And we'll slowly keep going up from there. Very cool. It's now says good things come to those who stake long. Absolutely. And Jay Judge says very instructive. Thank you, Hex Token. Hey, you're most welcome, Jay Judge. Appreciate it. And you rock, Hex Token, says Jamie. I appreciate that. And it's now 19 cents. Yeah, that's pretty nice. I love Hex Calc, says Sandy. Very helpful when staking. Yeah, it's very, very cool. So cool. I love Moon Math. It's awesome. Hex Calc is the best tool for onboarding. It is so easy to use, isn't it? Do they have? I don't know if they have dark mode, but it's pretty cool. Maybe they have dark mode. Who knows? Is it up on the links here? Not sure. They've got lots of stuff in here. Look, they even got Belly at Brand and lots of stuff in here. Very cool. Hey, Hex Token, yay! The gold video there. Nice. That's funny. Finally made it to Hex Calc. That's pretty cool. That's a good one there. Matt's T-share says, great work, mate. Thank you for the contribution to the RH community. I appreciate that, Matt T-share. And Sandra says, Hex Token rocks. Love it, Sandra. Hey, big shout out to you too. So I see a lot of you around the space as well. You're often watching videos. I'm watching too. So big shout out to you all. That video is breaking your flow. That video is breaking your flow. Yeah, that's true, Jay Judge, which is kind of impossible since you're a machine. Yeah, that's true. Dark mode would be awesome in Hex Calc. Yeah. We always say dark mode, not sure why, but we kind of like the. Sometimes it's possibly too bright, depending on where your screen. Now, I've got a new iMac. Excuse me. I've got a new iMac 24-inch 4.5K with an inbuilt studio mic. So I'm enjoying it a lot. So hopefully it's showing up pretty nice on that. Matt would, what was it Matt say? What would APY be on a 1-year stake? Hex, well, it's about 12-13%, but let's do that. Let's do that 365. 365. Bam, let's do that. So what are coming at there? 12.59% on the Hex, 11% on the USD. So that's cool. I'm not sure if I updated that or not, but yeah, boom. And Crypto Key says, boom. Shout out to you on your awesome son for telling Mama about Hex. Yeah, that's true. And nice one. Matt and Barley says about 13%. Yeah, there we are. So pretty cool. I think a lot of us know those stats, so pretty nice on there. So 37%. It's actually higher than that. It's actually probably, I think it's probably about 38 something. So, but it's pretty good. All right, let's jump over, folks. We're going to move on to the next one. I think Hex price just jumped, so we're going to do that as well. 19.1, man, that's looking good. Let's pull up the old day sheet there. We're going to go to hourly. We'll pump that too. Let's go to the hourly and pull that in. Nice. Let's probably there. So we're looking good there. Look at that price, man. Woo! It's looking good. All right. Let's jump over to Pulsechain. So here we are on Pulsechain, folks. So we're going to quickly go through some of the dApps, and this should be a bit of fun. We'll probably do this for about 15 minutes, and then we'll probably wrap up the live stream. We've got two other topics at the end of this, but we're going to run through these very quickly. If you're not used to Pulsechain, what's all going on? We've got these test nets going at the moment. We're waiting for Pulsechain to go live, and of course, PulseX Sacrifice is on. We're waiting for Pulsechain to go live as well. Pulsechain is basically like Uniswap, and of course, PulseX is like Pulsechain is like Ethereum network, and PulseX is like Uniswap, but it's kind of like that. And of course, that's what we're talking about. These are going to be copied and put onto the new chain. It's going to be a huge opportunity for value and for new communities to thrive. So it's going to be pretty cool. Super cheap, super fast. So these are the details. We're going to play on the Pulsechain, of course, the latest thing. There's a minimum viable product, of course, and we're going to go through that. So those are 4 components. We've got go.hex.com, which is being able to stake Hex on Pulsechain. We've got obviously a Pulsechain bridge. And of course, that means that you can bridge crypto from one blockchain to another blockchain, in this case from Ethereum over to Pulsechain and Pulsechain back to Ethereum. Of course, there will probably be a lot of bridge providers pop up very quickly. And if you've seen really good bridges like Expollinate and bridges like that, they're very, very cool. And they're working very well now. And that just shows you how fast the space is changing. Of course, we've also got Uniswap version 2, being able to swap tokens. We're going to look at that too. And of course, PulseX as well. We're not going to look at PulseX. That's testing on a private network, but we will look at the other 3 or 4. That's the minimum viable products. And of course, on top of that, we've got PulseX itself with the DAO incentive and the AMM bot that's going to run to make those liquidity pools, print money out of nowhere. It's going to be pretty fascinating. That's coming up in Pulsechain testing at 3. We won't be talking about those things on the roadmap still, but let's get straight into it. Here we are, folks, on the Pulsechain Explorer. This is looking at the Explorer. We can actually see what's going on. 3.4 second blocks at the moment. The target, of course, is around about 3 seconds. That's pretty fast, folks. And of course, at the moment, there's been 1.3 million transactions on there so far, and that's really stepped up the last couple of days. And the hundreds of thousands of transactions have been added, meaning that a lot's been tested on here. And that's really, really cool. It's not just Richard Hart testing on here. It's also a lot of third-party dApps and coming on here. There'll be hundreds and thousands of projects come on here. On PulseX, there's likely to be thousands upon thousands of trading pairs is what I expect to see on PulseChain. PulseX, sorry. So it's going to be pretty impressive for sure. Possibly in excess, well in excess of 6,000 pairs. We could end up even with 12,000 or so, depending on how you make your assumptions about that. So there's going to be a lot of trading pairs, which makes PulseX buy and burn even better, right? If you've got all these pairs trading, because we don't care. We're agnostic about who's trading and what pairs are trading. We just want them to do their thing. All the best to them, of course. But we're just wait for that buy and burn, right? Of every fee, every transaction, bam, buy and burn, buy and burn. Very cool. Like $1,000 would be about 60 cents. So, so the more the merrier, right? Party on. So anyway, we're going on pretty well. We've got the blocks here, and the blockchain, of course, has got different blocks, and they're all chained together. And of course, we've got validators on the Pulsechain. There's going to be 33, and of course, they're going to confirm those blocks, and every block has transactions in it. So if you do a transaction, everyone's doing transactions. They go into a block, and then of course they have to get confirmed by the validators. Mathematically, and then so on. You've got all the rest of the blocks and every block. So you can see the blocks here. This is the chain here. Imagine them all linked together. And this is the latest block here. And of course, there's transactions in that block. At the moment, there's 0 in these ones, but many times you'll see lots of transactions in these blocks. And you can actually see the transactions down below, the last ones here. And of course, you can jump into one of these through the hash or the transaction ID, and you can see all the details here that you want to see about this transaction. Successful, of course. the amount of confirmations it's had as well. Very, very cool. So that's pretty much an overview of the blockchain. Now you can see all transactions on that, and you can also look at your wallet and see your wallet on that too. You can just put your search address up here. You can search by address, token symbol, name, transaction hash, or block number, all that sort of good stuff in there. And of course, there's other menus at the top here as well. So we're going to jump over to there, and of course, we can get a faucet. If you want to get some test pulse, that's T-Pulse, as it's called. This is what you can use on the testnet version 2. So at the moment, blockchain testnet version 2 is running out for Pulsechain, and you can get some here. So you just post your address in here and request, and away you go. You can only get 1 TPLS per day. So if I do this, I'm going to get a no. You've exceeded your rate. I have to wait another 22 hours because I already claimed it about 2 hours ago. So that's cool. But on here, you can also get Pulse Uniswap. So this is one of the minimum viable products. So we've got Uniswap here, version 2. You can see I've got some Pulse here, 6.5 Pulse. Yeah, I'm rich. And of course, I got Hex 32,640X. Now, I'm very rich on this because it's worth a lot of money on the testnet. So it's fictional, of course, just play money, but it's pretty funny to do. Now, you can see on Pulse, if I click that, I've already got my wallet connected. I am on the Pulsechain testnet, so I'm not on Ethereum. Pulsechain is not live, so it's not the live Pulsechain that's coming up. This is a testnet version of Pulsechain, so it's just all pretend. And of course, I've got different stuff I can use here, Hex, DAI, that sort of stuff. So very, very cool. So I can actually buy one Pulse at the moment. Will buy 1,379 Hex. Pretty powerful, eh? Pulse is worth a lot, right? Yeah, that's what I do. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to swap, and here we go. So we're swapping on the Pulsechain testnet too, and I'm going to confirm that. It's going to pop up a MetaMask. You won't see that on my screen, but that's going to cost me 0.0003 of a T-Pulse or a Pulse, and I'm going to confirm that, and you're going to see it confirm. I don't have to add it to the MetaMask because I've already done that. That's the contract. You can see how fast that was. How fast was that? Are you mind blown? Are you mind blown? It's so fast. Swap exactly. Obviously, when there's millions of transactions on the Pulsechain, it's going to get have issues with congestion, but it's going to be up to probably 200 times faster than Ethereum is at the moment. So it's pretty awesome, and it's super fast and super cheap. It's going to be relatively super cheap as well. Now, very, very cool on that. So that's how fast that transaction. You saw how fast that was. That was mind-blowingly fast. Of course, we can swap something else. I think I've got some USDC. Have I got some USDC? No, not on that one. What else have we got here? I've got something else in here. Let me have a look on this. So actually, I'm not sure what you can actually swap on there at this stage. So let me do DAI. Let me just refresh this and see whether I can pick up something else there. It's not showing any results for the other ones. I think that's going to show up any of that. Yeah, I've got 129 DAI, so that's showing up. And of course, Hex there. So I've got 121.9 DAI. It's now DAI had a decimal place issue the other day. We did it, which we discovered ourselves. And of course, we did that, I think, on the bridge. It was on the bridge, not on the Uniswap here. The Uniswap's running perfectly fine. I think we found one on there. So let's say $50 on the DAI, and let's swap up for some Hex there. Cool. Allow the protocol to use your DAI. Yep, I'm going to do that. So I have to actually approve that to be able to use my DAI from the wallet. You can always edit the permissions as well, the maximum amount that's allowed. This is just a test wallet, so I don't have to worry about that. But if you're using a real wallet, you typically want to limit the spend on it. Otherwise, if you have unlimited spends, you put your wallet at risk. But particularly if you're using a wallet that may have your Hex stakes or something like that, which are incredibly valuable, you don't want to do that. Right. So see how fast was that approval? Super fast. All right. Now we've approved the fact that we can spend DAI, and so now we're going to actually be able to swap DAI now. And allow them, the Uniswap version 2, to actually spend that. So this is Uniswap version 2 on a Pulsechain testnet too. So it's been forked, what we call forked or copied over to be able to use. So cool. 50 DAI. Here we go. I'm going to go transaction. It's going to cost me 0.000397 of a T-Pulse. Fraction, right? Fraction. This would normally cost me probably $40-50 on Uniswap on Ethereum. There's going to be a fraction of a penny on Pulsechain at the moment. Whatever the Pulsechain is worth. Cool. So how fast that was? Super fast, right? So running really smooth. Obviously, as more transactions ramp up, Ethereum's doing about 1.3 million transactions per day. Polygon Matic's doing probably 3 to 4 million transactions per day. Of course, the GUI and the price of those two assets of Matic versus Ethereum are very different. Hundreds of millions of dollars on Ethereum, maybe $3-4 million a day on Polygon Matic. So Polygon Matic's probably more similar to the way I see Pulsechain at first. Obviously, I think we're going to have far more adoption, ramp up by a lot stronger. That said, of course, there is a lot using Polygon Matic now. Probably been most successful, also the most successful on OpenSea NFTs. They have pretty much pumped the NFT, and also pushed up Ethereum costs. But they also did that on Polygon Matic, so which is a second layer of Ethereum. So it's going to be pretty interesting. But of course, you can see if you look at Polygon Matic, you can get to a Pulsechain. Pulsechain, remember, you own the keys to your coins. You don't own that on Polygon Matic. Also, so you're going to see this massive ramp up. It's going to be beautiful. It's the Holy Grail. Richard's really made the Holy Grail the best of everything in this environment. So it's really, really cool. So there we are. We did a couple of swaps there, folks. You saw 2 of them. They work pretty nice. So we're going to jump over to Hex, and we're going to stake some Hex here. Of course, here I am on go.hex.com. This is the second. So we've looked at the Uniswap. Now we're looking at the Hex staking and go.hex. And of course, we're going to stake some here. Let's do 10,000. 10,000 Hex, and of course we've got slightly different numbers on here. It's just a test net. As you can see, the share rate's only 20,160. That's not the same as the real one on Ethereum at the moment. We're going to stake that for 2 days. We're going to get a little bit of T-shares, 0.496 T-shares. Very, very cool. And we're going to stake that. We're going to see how long it takes, folks. It's not going to take long. Here we go. We're going to stake that, and it's going to cost me 0.0015 T-Pulse. So super cheap, super cheap. Ready? And 1 second. 2 seconds, 3 seconds, 4 seconds, 5 seconds. It hasn't been picked up by the block, by the way. 6 seconds. It hasn't actually been picked up by the actual transaction. So let's go to the block explorer. It's happened now, so it started the stake. And there we are. Bam, we got the stake. So it actually hadn't got picked up by the blockchain at that stage. So that's why the delay. Otherwise, it was super fast when it happened, like real fast. So there we are, folks. We got the stake. Very cool, successful 10,000. And we can see that down here, just starting, it's pending. It won't actually tick over until day 790 on here has ticked over. So that's still 18 hours and 33 minutes away until the stake goes live. And of course, there we are, 10,000 there. There's a sample only, just pretend. But on the Pulsechain testnet, Hex is very expensive. So it's looking really nice on here too. So very cool. I've got an end stake here from one I've done already. So we can hit that. Let's do that. So end stake, I can good accounting. So good accounting, remember, takes the T-shares out of the share pool. It doesn't get the rewards, but it also doesn't mint the tokens. So you're not minting the tokens in some jurisdictions. That might actually be an advantage to you. Or you can just end the stake and mint the tokens yourself. And let's do that and take the T-shares out. So very, very cool. Let us confirm that. It's going to cost me 0.0015 at T-Pulse, or test pulse as we call it. That's going to happen. It's just going through the measures here. It's been picked up now, I think. And bam, there our stake end. So done. So that should update. There we are. How fast was that? Woo! That was super fast, folks. Really, really cool. And of course, that will show up down the bottom here. Very nice. So looking good there as well. So there we are. That's how easy it is on Hex.co. So we looked at two out of the 4 minimum viable products. We've looked at the Uniswap version 2. We've looked at the Hex.go. And of course, now we're going to look at staking with validators. This is not part of that. This is kind of a fundamental part of Pulsechain. But we're going to look at the Pulsechain bridge instead. So we've got some stuff here. We've already linked up here on the Pulsechain bridge. So it's under pulseramp.com. And of course, we've got some DAI here. So let's actually switch around. We've got Pulsechain, but let's switch it over to Ethereum. If you're going to use the Ethereum side, of course, you need to have some Ethereum or what we call Ethereum or our Ethereum on the Robstein test network. So that's the test network for Ethereum. So you need to have that in the house to do the transactions, because you need Pulse or T-Pulse on the Pulsechain side. You need our ETH or Robstein ETH on the Ethereum side, which is the Pulsechain testnet there. Oh, sorry, the Robstein testnet on Ethereum. So just to make that, hopefully I'm making that as clear as possible. So I've got some DAI in there. What else? I've got some other stuff in there. We've got PDAI. We've got ETH. So PDAI is what's on the Ethereum blockchain, the Robstein network. We've got some ETH over there. We've got some P-Pulse. Very cool. So let's take some, let's take some Ethereum there. I think we can do that one. Let me have a look here. So the Ethereum will become ETH, a little E, and then ETH on the Pulsechain bridge. So that's what that's going to become. So we've got a little bit there. Let's do 0.1 ETH there, and we're going to get 0.0099. That's because there's a bridge fee of 0.1%. So we're getting slightly less there. And let's send that. Boom, there we go. So send 0.1 ETH from Robstein and receive 0.0999 ETH on the Pulsechain. Click to send. We're going to do that, and we're going to party on. This pulled up a ticket here on the ETH network, which is the Robstein test network. And of course, it says 0.000048 ETH. So it's pretty cheap on that. Now you can see all these transactions on the blockchain, of course. We need 3 block confirmations, and let's see how long. This takes longer, by the way, than the Pulsechain one. So it's going to take a little longer. We just have to be, patient with that. Pretty cool. So we're just going through that. Very nice. I love going through these because it really brings all these things alive that we're sacrificing for. It really makes these platforms alive. And of course, you can also see the progress that Richard's making with his devs and bringing the ecosystem together with the minimum viable products. Are pretty cool. Click here to begin a new bridge if you want to, but we've got 2 out of 3 confirmations so far. Very, very cool. So waiting for that to come. Now, you can see the transactions on the Robstein test network and on the Pulsechain one, depending on which side the transaction's being made. But it's very, very cool. You can see that's processing away. It takes longer on the Robstein test network. We're probably waiting it. Transfer complete. There we are. So 0.1 ETH from Robstein Ethereum test network over to Pulsechain, and we got that. Nice. So very, very cool. And that's added to our ETH. So ETH represent ETH on the Pulsechain that we got from Ethereum. So that's pretty cool. We've also got transactions up here. This is a little slow, but it does update itself with transactions. So you can see I've made ones before using some DAI and ETH, but this one here is a validating transaction that has been done. Of course, if I go like that, might have updated. That will update. Sometimes it just takes a little longer on there, but the transactions actually happened, and you can actually see that on the Robstein test network transaction there. So cool. And I can actually pull it up. Let me just pull it up. View the account on Etherscan, which is actually Robstein test network. You can see Robstein at the top there, and you can see all the transactions that we did 1 minute ago. That 0.1 ETH, that was cool. So that's the hash there. This is on the Robstein test network, not on Pulsechain. And of course, we sent it from this address to this address, and it was 0.1. So nice there, wrapped ETH. So that's pretty cool, as you can see. So nice on that. And of course, we can go back to the chain here. And there we are. So we've done from Ethereum to Pulsechain, but you can also do the other way. You just have to switch the direction, and that will ask you to switch it in your MetaMask. You can do that. And of course, it's got Pulsechain now. I can send from Pulsechain, and I can send anything I want. I could send Hex over there if I want, DAI, ETH, and so forth. So pretty cool. So I'll leave that one now, but it's super fast on the Pulsechain. In fact, I might as well just do one on the Pulsechain because it's very fast. So it doesn't take as long as the ETH one there. Let's send over some Hex. So we'll do 2,000 Hex, and we're going to send that. We're going to get 1,998 Hex because we've got a fee there. Let's send that. We've got 4 steps here. It was a good reason I did it, actually, because we've got 4 steps rather than 1 step like we did the last one. Now, ETH will be different compared to the other tokens. The other tokens will have more steps probably than the ETH one. So just take that into account. So we're going to authorize the bridge, and we're going to click yep, and it brings up the transaction. It's got quadruple 046 T-Pulse, so super cheap to give the permission. And so we're just giving that approve or authorization, and then we're going to go into the send the tokens itself. So nice. That's coming in pretty cool. And of course, there we are, send. I'm going to click send now. I can actually send that Pulsechain and receive that on PHEX on the Robstein ETH network. It's going to cost me 0.00034 T-Pulse. So super cheap. And we'll wait for that to happen. Nice. 3 blocks. It's going to be super fast. Really will be fast comparable. Very cool. 2 out of 3 blocks. Nice. So going strong here, folks. Very, very cool. Just it looks like I got Miles behind there and in the comments there, so nice, looking good there. So that's ticking along. Normally it's much faster, so it's taking a little bit longer. There we are. That's what I wanted. So switch network, cool. And switch network. Let me switch. We're switching over to the Robstein test network. Cool. We've got that transaction there. Claim. We're going to claim that. Nice. I was supposed to do it on the other page, but hey, that's fine. It's going to cost me 0.0005 ETH to claim this now on the ETH chain. So you got a little fraction of a fee on Pulsechain, and then a fee on the Robstein test network, which you know on Ethereum will be a little bit of money possibly. So that's the only side. When you're using the bridge, you do have the ETH fee to contend with. So that's relatively small though in terms of the ETH amount, at least on the Robstein test network. Be interesting to see what it is on the ETH network when it goes live. So maybe there's going to be a day or two before the bridge opens up. And of course, after that, we should expect a lot of third-party bridges as well to operate probably a lot of cross-chain bridges and stuff. So you can see the economy, the Pulsechain is going to open up very quickly to the rest of the world, including a fiat gateway, a credit card on-ramping. That will be there too. Richard's talked about a credit card version of that, and Kinetics has talked about fiat on-ramp too, but definitely there's one in the pipeline there, so cool. All right, so nice. Let us check it out. So I think that on the ETH network, have we got the PHEX hasn't arrived yet, so waiting for the PHEX to come in. And just waiting for that transaction to, I'm pretty sure I claimed that, so we'll have to refresh that one. I'm just waiting to see whether that's coming on my asset side. PX, it doesn't show on there, so I'm pretty sure I've claimed that, so we'll wait for that to come in on that one. While we do that, let's jump over to Pulse Active Stake. So here is, you see I've got 0.1. This is actually, rather than minimum viable product, this is actually the validators. Remember, it's going to be 33 validators on the Pulsechain testnet, and of course we can see the Explorer here. But validators here is going to be here, and of course to do mistakes you just have to go in here and you can actually add some stuff. So we're going to add one here, and we're going to add some pulse there. We're going to add that stake to the validators. Now I'm using the same validator. There are currently I think 27 on there on the testnet. We're going to have actually 3 when we go live. Yeah, so I expect that to happen. So I'm just waiting for that to pop up. Let me have a look on that transaction. Yeah. So you've got the list of validators here. We've got 27 on these pages. So page 1 and 2. Let me just scroll that up a bit more. And you can see that in the house. So we've got 27, 25 on this page. You can see I'm actually selected this one here. I've got this one here with the house here. And of course I can add a stake. I'm pretty sure it's reading my account there. My stake, my revenue. So we put 1 in there. And projected stake, add. So waiting for that to pull up a transaction there. Not sure why that's not pulling up something. Let me just, oh, that's right, because I'm on the ETH network. So you got to be on the Pulsechain network, folks. There we are. There's this easy trap there. Got to be on the Pulsechain network to make that happen. So there we are. Let's see right there. Now it's pulling up a MetaMask there. 0.000677. That's insanely low on the old validator staking. That's pretty low on that. It's actually processing now. See at the top. Very, very cool. Actually got the dark mode, have we? Yeah, dark mode. Look at that. Cool. We have got dark mode on here. And you can see this is the validator I'm staking with here. Nice. They've got 4,750 pulse stake there, pending stake 58. Rotation, yes. They've got a 99% revenue share, which is pretty funny. So there we are, folks. We've got to 1.1 now. So you can see that the balance that's staked is we've got 1 staked and then 1 pending. So that's one there at the moment. We've also got a revenue share percentage, 0.02% is our revenue share. So nice. We are getting 99%, remember, of the validators winnings on the block confirmation. So nice. There's the active stakes in there sitting at 1.1. Very cool. So we've got that. And of course, if you want to register as a validator, you got to contact the dev team, and you need 500,000 test polls to stake. But as you can see, we've got 27. In reality, we'll have 33, and they'll be rotating validators. So nice. Let's jump over to liquid loans. Don't forget to get onto this. This is going to be really cool. I think it's the 4th leg of the chair. Really, it's going to be that banking, lending component of the ecosystem, in my view. It's not Richard Hart's thing, but it does fit in perfectly well. That 4th leg on the chair. They've got a referral program, of course, that you'll be able to get a 5% bonus, both for you and for the person that you give a referral to. So it's a win-win from that point of view. And of course, that's pretty exciting. So if you want to get a link, get your own referral link. That's going to be out. The sacrifice for that will be out any day now. And of course, you can use my link in the video description, and you can get out and start selling it out. I think it's going to be pretty good. So I do think it's a decent opportunity. So nice on that. Of course, let's finally look at Hex. This is looking pretty good on the website. Very cool. And what a nice update this is for sure. I think it looks pretty funky, and it's got lots of cool stuff on it as well. So, and see how many headline measures it's got here too. Pretty nice as well. So cool. Let's jump back to Hex quickly. And there we are, 19.05 cents. Looking good on the price, man. That was a nice turnaround. And of course, let's finally have a look at PulseX. We're going to look to wrap up shortly. Let's do a nice little refresh on here and then get into the comments, and we'll probably wrap up. Let's just get in here. Okay. All right. So 1,2,129,000 sacrificed so far. Looking spectacular. Very, very cool. My favorite number, of course, as you guys know, is the Hex sacrifice. 2,166,000,000 off the market. That's pumpamental for the Hex price. Of course, we saw the Hex TShare rate jump as well. So you can see all the fundamentals looking really good for Hex. Super FOMO. All right, I'll leave it on the Hex chart as we go through some of the comments here. And cheers, everybody. This is going to be a fun ride for sure. Let's get into it. We got Ramon says Hex is winding itself tighter and tighter. When it pops, it's going to rocket to new all-time highs. And I agree with that absolutely. And Brazil says it will go higher because the daily payout will increase as well. Yeah, cool. As says Matt and Barley. And what else we got? It's now says, oh crap, I forgot to like till now. Hey, nice one there. You can always get in at the end there. And what else we got? Hex Trinity says Hex is extremely desirable to the wealthy. I think so too. And I think Funding Jim has a lot of good combinations. I call him the billionaire liaison, Funding Jim. He has lots of great conversations with, the people with very large wealth in the hundreds of millions, tens of millions, and billionaires. So it's pretty cool. Things are happening, man. It's happening. And Matt and Barley says, I guess the uptake in transactions is giving us a good indication of the interest in Pulse and PulseX. Looking awesome. It is looking awesome, Matt, for sure. And Crypto Token says the burning of PLS is a flat rate versus PLX burning as a variable depending on the size. They're all based on the they're all percentages. They're all percentages of a Crypto Token. So the difference is that the value of PulseX will be way huge, even though the fact that every transaction on Pulsechain gets clips a ticket, as it were. 0.25% on Pulsechain and 0.29% on PulseX. But the value of the PulseX is going to be way higher, right? Because Pulse itself will be relatively cheap transaction-wise on the transactions, as opposed to the value of a transaction on PulseX. So it's very different. The more advantage for PulseX obviously is the main chain. They get priced up pretty big in the X's historically. And of course, it does have validator staking. And of course, there will be third-party dApps as well as yield farming as well. Whereas opposed to PulseX just has yield farming at this stage, but may have a staking in the DAO incentive. We'll see how that plays out. I think that's probably an important component. And it may also get itself its own third-party dApps that try to attract PulseX into them. But once again, buyer beware, right? Buyer beware, or in this case, staker beware. By the way, Brazil's got smiles on. Well, I like that super fast, says Adrian. Super fast for sure. New chain looks good. It does look good. I like to go through it, even though it takes a little bit of time. I did that fairly fast, but it definitely is pretty cool. If you want to look at a longer video of that, check out Let's Play on Pulsechain Testnet 2 on this channel. You can watch it. We had a great time going through in far more detail on the minimum viable product. It was pretty cool. And Rothko's got beautiful. Yep, absolutely. Aloha Hexkins, Maui Hexagon. Hey, very cool. Aloha to you as well. And Pulsechain is the new revolution, says Adrian. Absolutely. 9 to 1 watching and 905 likes. Come on, people. Yeah, I like that one there. That's now very cool. Adrian's got the smiles on, and Brendan says take part in voting on the poll. Yeah, let's get to the poll. We're going to end that now, actually. Now that you reminded me, let's get to that. And let us play. Let me just jump back out into there. And let us go into the studio here. Very, very cool. I'm glad you reminded me of that, to be honest. Could have easily forgotten that. So we've got 141 votes since Brendan made that post. And Brendan made that post about a quarter of an hour ago. So that's how long I've been talking. There we are. So let's end this poll. 141 votes. We're going to end this and see what it says at the end of the day. Let's get in the house. Yeah, we're going to go through here. All right, so there is the poll results, folks. What action would you do? What action would you do for the best returns at the moment? So at the moment, ATM, buy and stake eHex, get Pulsechain Hex 41%. That's interesting because that started off as the lower one. That's ended up buy and stake eHex and get PulseHex. The very cool 41. I think that's pretty good. PulseX Sacrifice and hold 34%. I think that's a good one too. Buy Hex, get Pulsechain Hex. So buy Hex means just not staking it. It's 25%. And for PulseX Sacrifice and flip some or all of it for PLS, because we know a lot of people are going to be flipping a little bit of PulseX, at least, if not more, for Pulse, and that's 12%. So some pretty cool stuff there. 41, and I think the top two kind of makes sense to me. That definitely is the case. So cool. Hey, thanks for voting, everybody. I always appreciate that. And Rogella says, Rojo from Vegas, any idea when we can get a transfer, or transfer our PulseX Sacrifice points to our wallets? Thank you much. Yeah, so we have to wait for the Pulsechain launch, official launch, and that will happen. at the same time with PulseX, and of course that will be on the blockchain, on Pulsechain blockchain when it goes live. So as well as the biggest airdrop with PRC20s, if you've got anything on ERC20s on Ethereum, or even NFTs, 721, ERC20, 721s, or anything like that, they'll also be airdropped on the Pulsechain. You just have to add the Pulsechain bridge, sorry, the Pulsechain network to your MetaMask wallet, and you'll be able to just switch between Ethereum and Pulsechain, and you'll see your tokens on that chain underneath your wallet address. So it's that easy, Rogella, pretty easy. Goldman says, woohoo, absolutely. And yeah, it's now, that's correct. Yeah, beautiful. The points will be in your wallet. Yep. And what else we got going? Boom. Yeah, for sure. If you are low on funds and new to crypto, PulseX Sacrifice is a great place to start. Yeah, I agree with that. I think it's a good idea there, Jimmy. Well, good advice. I think I gave that advice out recently too. Sandra says, I'm confused. 10,000 Hex stake. Why is that now so high? If I want a TShare Hex stake, I can't stake 10,000. Why is that now so high? I want to stake 10 Hex 10,000. Well, you can actually stake longer than that. If you want to get a TShare, you can actually use the Hex count. I'm just going to make sure I'm interpreting what you're saying there. But to get a TShare, you can actually stake out really long, right? You can stake out 3, 6, 4, 1 days, and you can get yourself, if we calculate, you'll get 1.44 TShare. So you only need less than that. You probably need 600-700, say. Look how much that will get you. Let's say a bit more than that. So say 6,900 Hex might get you a TShare for a 2-day stake or whatever. But you, sorry, for a 10-year stake. Yeah, that will get you one. So 6,900 Hex will get you for 3,641 day, which is the maximum benefit that you get from the effective bonus when you stake Hex, which is 200%. And of course, that will give you one TShare. So it's a way of getting one TShare. You can stake 6,900. Very cool. Hopefully, that answered your question there, if I interpreted that right. It's a good stuff, says Adrian. Absolutely good stuff. Morning, people, says Hex Buller. Hey, Hex Buller, big shout out to you. Appreciate all you do on Twitter. I've really been promoting Hex Token since I got on there yesterday. Big shout out to Hex Buller. And Rogella says, sorry, we have to transfer it or automatically. So it's going to be automatic. It's going to be centralized, the airdrop. So you don't have to do anything there, Rogella. No more 10,000 per dollar. The price goes up 5%. That's correct. Yeah. So if that's the question you're asking, the sacrifice price has gone up. And we can see that on this table, it goes up every day. So it started off at $1 for 10,000 points. It's now all the way up to day 33, and it's now $2.79 for 10,000 points. $1 now will only get you 3,589 points, which I still think is fairly good at the current time. Once it gets higher, it gets always harder to break even, and you have to have bigger X's in the price because all the people down here got it way cheaper than you did. So you have to wait for the market to absorb any of that selling. Sandra says you need 20,000 to get a TShare. Yeah, well, I just showed you actually need 6,900 to get a TShare if you're going to do a 10-year stake. So it's probably a way to go. And $2. He said TShare was 20,000 now. Yeah, so TShare is the rate has gone up major. So TShare rate, where did I have that? TShare rate is on here. TShare rate is now 20,693 Hex per TShare. And that is the rate at the moment. Cool. So that is the rate if you're going to get the bonus right now. So the thing is, you can get the effective bonus is 200%. So you get a bonus on that. Does that make sense? So if I put this in, bam. Oh, let me put in that amount for you. 2693, 2693. 2693. Right, I got the wrong mouse there. That's I think it's 1 day on here. Let's calculate. All right, so there we are. So 2693 Hex is the TShare rate. You can see the TShare rate up here. And of course, if I do that stake for 1 day, that's going to get me one TShare. Does that make sense? But if I can stake less than that, I can stake 6,900. But instead of staking this Hex, I have to stake it longer to get the bonus. And the maximum bonus is 3,641 days. And of course, that is 200% effective bonus. And that's cool. That will get me a very cool, see, longer pays better. So I stake 6,900 Hex and I get 3,800 more bonus in the effective longer pays better bonuses. that will give me 20,700 hex, you see, and that equates to the TShare rate at the moment. Isn't that cool? So you can actually, with Lex Hex, you can get the effective bonuses and you can get 1 TShare. Isn't that cool? So hopefully that's clear, if that's what you're asking. Very cool. Brenton says 1 to 10,000 points. Yeah, let's jump on here. Yeah, all right. 1 TShare, 20,600. Yes, I showed all that stuff. So hopefully that's clear on there. What else have we got? Jump through some of these comments here. Lots around that TShare stuff. Yeah, Brazology says, yeah, over the last 2 years, the cost of shares have essentially doubled and the cost of Hex. Absolutely. Yeah, it's basically doubled. Yeah, it's just over doubled. That's well said. Oh, yeah, no problem, says Brazology. Nice. Let's have a jump through here. It doesn't matter how long the channels have been going or how subscribers they've got. No one does it better than you, man. You are on your way to many, many more. I can to see Richard Hart on your channel. Yeah, nice one. Yeah, well, it's a cool thing. That one of the first 10 followers on Twitter for Hex Token was Richard Hart. That was pretty neat. So it's great to see that. LL's liquid line strategies are amazing. I think so too, Sandy, and I think they play a role. Especially if you manage it correctly. I think 1,000% collateral is the right way to go with that. Beyond that, you start taking on risk. You're a big risk taker up to that. Very cool. What else we got going here? John Carrera is in the house. Hey, good to see a Hex Token channel member. Woohoo, bro. Crypto Heartbeat was giving you the big ups earlier on the stream. Let's go Hexens. Yeah, that was very nice of Crypto Heartbeat. Big shout out to him, of course. Very cool. Hex Cat says, I voted for the 41%. Nice one. Yes, I think that was probably a good way to go. Let's go, Brandon, says Tefrin. Yeah, nice one. I agree with that one. And Adrian says, our internet made up money is better than the government made up paper money. Yeah, that's true. Hashtag Hex. Yeah, very well said. And Jake says, so much knowledge on every level. You're a genius, man. The image of Richard. Hey, appreciate that, Judge. Nice one. Great stream, says Sandy Beach. And awesome stream, brother, says Matthew. Nice one. And LGB's got the nice one there too. Hey, it's now very cool. All right, it's a perfect time to finish. An hour and 51 minutes. We rocked this live stream. And of course, we didn't hold back. We covered so much stuff today. And I'm going to put a contents list on it. It's going to take me a little while to do that, but I'm going to put that on there. And I hope you guys enjoyed this. It was really fun. And we're covering the knowledge. It's going to be pretty cool. Yeah, Mike's just pulled up something here. I think hod pool strategy in the liquid loans is safest. You stay in the system and can pay off the loan in time. The minute you go to the haunted strategy, there's a big risk, even with 1,000% collateral. Yeah, there is a pro and cons to that, but definitely is the case. Nice one there, Mike. All right, very cool. Let me get in the chat here. And what that poll was pretty insightful. Hopefully those polls help you guys with maybe some of your thinking, because that's why I like the polls as well. They're cool to see what people are generally thinking. It's pretty nice. And Hex Cat says, great streaming, Hex Token. I appreciate the Hexy Cat. And Tefrin says, we killed this one. Woohoo! Thank you. And Roscoe says, great, awesome stream. Thanks. Hey, Roscoe, appreciate it. Great to see you back again, too. And Matt says, smash the like button. Bell, you see tomorrow. Nice one. And Hexicat Strategies is the best. Hexicat, yeah. We'll play that out. We'll get you on here, Hexicat, to play that out. The piece, all awesome stuff. And it's now says, you rock Hex Token. Big shout out. And I love the issue because you're a Hex Token channel member. I love your emojis there. It's now with the rockets. So it's very cool. All right, let's end with that. I'm going to post my own emojis. Let's get onto that. Kind of crazy. So if you're a Hex Token channel member, you get some of these emojis here. And of course, I'm going to be adding PulseX soon. It's going to be pretty nice. Let me put a little piece out there and a little bit of love as well. Why not? We're going to do that. Very cool. Take care all and enjoy yourself. Your stream made price pump 20 cents. Oh, hey, often when I'm doing live streams, the price seems to pump. You can ask many of the other members here. It's crazy like that. Night all. And Tafrin's got the peace sign. Great stream, says Ramon. Later, Hexkins. All right, well, let's enjoy the magic carpet ride together. Rock on, Richard Hart, and rock hard our community. It's going to be epic. Awesome. Bye for now. Take care.